Hallelujah. All right, I'm gonna click on go live. Are we live? YouTube, we are live. Let me warm up my voice. Hello, everyone. How you doing? It is ECUM 67, our beloved. We're very close to 69, man. I'm excited. Though, maybe Jeb won't be on that one. It's all up to him, but, you know. So, hey, chat. What's up? How's life treating you? Yeah. It's been 2 weeks, I think. Did we stream last week? I don't think we did, right? I think the last one was a Quantumania.
Yeah, we didn't stream last week.
If we're going live, it's like, no, you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was 2 weeks ago, yeah. But we're back to talk about the YouTuber called Actual Fandom. Who's a great YouTuber, Jeb. What's your experience with Actual Fandom?
Well, Actual Fandom, I want to stress at the time, was speak to Southpaw and such, so I would see that on Twitter because I'm mutuals with them. And I was like, you know what? They seem to be supportive of them. I'm curious as to why. I haven't heard of this guy. I'll watch a video. And I picked the objectivity one because I think that's a topic that is mutual to all the parties. And it'll probably delve into some interesting things. It had a nice title. It was a shit video. We're going to be covering it. I did a thread saying why that video I felt was poor, and why I felt didn't show good character, but I also emphasized that I wasn't a fan of Actual Fandom, so there might have been in-jokes I'm not aware of, or anything else essentially. Actual Fandom reacted negatively to that, accused me of being in the EFAP cult and all that jazz, and SK had to tell him no, he doesn't watch EFAP and such. And then it kind of went silent from there, and then there was a discussion about Nerderotic with the stream with someone called Gavin where he exposed himself, and yes, I don't think he should have exposed himself, Gavin, that is, hot take. But I took issue with Nerderotic's drug history because I felt that it was irrelevant to the topic. Actual Fandom didn't like that. It started getting aggressive. And then it turned into the point where he was like, you know what, come onto my stream and talk. And I was like, well, I can't because I'm going to my parents. I was literally on the bus, essentially, at this point. And he was like, no, go onto the stream. I'm like, look, my mum's blind. She's had a panic attack and shit. My focus is that. And he decided to use that against me by going, you're arguing with me instead of tending to your mother. And I'm like, okay, well, you're a cunt. So I let loose on him, and then everyone else tore into him. Since then, he's...
Yeah, and then SK and Jolly tried to talk to him. Did not go well.
Yep.
About the way he went after Jeff. So
yeah, it ended up with all them disassociating with him, not just because of what he said. He also basically said he was using them.
Oh yeah, using them as sources. Yeah, I consider them sources. That was really weird.
And they all decided to cut ties because they felt it was morally reprehensible. From there, I don't know what he's been doing, but I have wanted to cover this video, not as like a, haha, we're going after you, Actual Fandom, I don't care about that. It's because I think the way objectivity is used is very interesting, and I think we can explore that and see how it's used correctly. But it's also to highlight how not to cover this topic, because this video is very, very bad at it. It offers nothing of substance. The best thing is its title. So that's why we're covering it, and that's the history.
Whoa. Probably should have done recommendation corner before you did the history, but that's whatever. Zod isn't here. I don't know where they are. They might arrive, they might not.
Should we do it anyway, just to stall?
Oh no, yeah. Sorry. Holy shit. I'm choking. Oh my god.
You good?
I'm not good.
Please be dead. Please be dead. Please be dead. Please
All
be
right.
dead.
So, we're gonna do the recommendation corner anyway. I was just saying, if people want to know about Zod. Ah, Jesus Christ. Okay. And someone also said the description reads, Jab is a bad person. That's why I find him the most relatable in the podcast. And I found that funny, so I wanted to read it. But yeah, the description is literally just Jab is a bad person. Unrelated to anything we're covering today. He just is. But anyway, no, I'm not good, thank me, I genuinely was choking. First death of the podcast. All right, anyway. Tin, what's your recommendation for the recommendation corner?
Right. Well, it's pretty well known how much I love the Batman, right? And that's done by Matt Reeves. So
It is.
I figured I would go back and watch some of his other stuff. So I went back and watched the Planet of the Apes trilogy, which I'd seen Rise and I'd seen all three of them at like some point never, but it was so long ago and out of context that this was basically like a first watch, and like it's like really the thing is that like those films like so critically acclaimed. I thought like surely they can't be that good, and it turns out that they actually are really that good. Like even I'm a little bit surprised. Like even the first one, which like it's the weakest of the lot, but like it's still really good. And like once you hit like the second film when Matt Reeves takes over, you can tell this was the best guy to do a Batman film. Like especially the third film, like that. The third film especially. The whole thing, how like people want the Batman Part 2 to have a snow setting. Now I get it. I absolutely get it. Like that made me fall in love with the idea of Matt Reeves doing a snow setting. And even through like the themes done, like because like I guess not to give anything away, but like the third film was all about how like the cycle of revenge and that, and like and how it can change you and how it can scar you and that, and like that's perfect. Like that ties right into how like he eventually goes on to do the Batman, and even the films themselves are just really so well done. Like the CGI for Warfare of the Apes is generally some of the best I've ever seen. Like it's like 5-6 years old, but it's still really freaking. It holds up so well, and like it looks so real most of the time. Like it looks so good, and even like Andy Serkis's performance in it is really good, because like he's always been like the CGI person. Like he was Gollum, he was King Kong and all that, but here he's like, despite him playing like an ape, it feels like one of the most human freaking performances I've ever seen. Like it's that good. And one thing this is like a particular like sort of nitpick with me, is when a trilogy doesn't feel like a trilogy. Like when like one film feels so out of place, or where like it just doesn't feel like a cohesive thing. Like despite the fact that like the first one was done by someone completely different, it still feels like one cohesive long trilogy, because the second film ties right into the end of the last film, and the Apes cast is consistent all throughout, which it's a little thing, but that's one thing that always bothers me about a lot of film trilogies, is when they don't feel like one cohesive trilogy. And also just gonna say, Maurice is my favorite character, and if you've seen the film, you know why, because he is amazing and I love him.
Amen. I've seen Dawn recently. I wanted to watch the entire trilogy because of Matt Reeves, but I did not have the time last year. But I did watch Dawn, and I like it.
And one of the things is that, especially in the third film, Michael Giacchino's score is just impeccable. Like, I shared a bit on Twitter, but like that combined with Matt Reeves' direction, you can totally get why this was the team perfect to do a Batman film. Like it is, you can say all the groundwork just right there, and it's honestly pretty cool to see. And one thing I even appreciate is like it does like human villains very well, because like in these sort of films, like where like the main character is like either non-human or like something else, it's just done really well. Like even in the third film, which it isn't really a spoiler, but the villain doesn't have a name. He's just straight up called the Colonel. Like, and I didn't notice that until like 3/4, and I was like, huh, he actually doesn't have a name, and like it didn't even bother us. Like that's how well done it is. So That's one thing I like, but like, yeah, I highly recommend all three. Like, especially if you're coming off the Batman and you want to go back and see his older work, this is like prime soap material to take a look at. Like, and even then, it's like an absolutely fantastic trilogy of good blockbusters. So, yeah, that's my recommendation.
Yes, and we all agree that Maurice from Madagascar is a great character. Yeah, yeah. Someone in chat pointed that out, and yeah. uh, anyway, Jeb, you recommend something?
Oh god, that's tough because I've not really been doing anything. Um, hmm. Um, hmm, I guess the only thing I've really been watching is around Zelda stuff. I've been watching this streamer called Point Crow. He does more than Zelda, just to clear up. But I've been enjoying his streams lately. He likes to do a lot of modding from what I've been watching, and like finding ways to challenge his speedrunning skills with modding, which I find very interesting. But he's very charismatic. He's quite engaging, funny, and the way he does things um, is very imaginative. I find, especially how he engages with chat and incorporates them into it. My favorite one being there's a stream where if he says certain words, it will spawn something in the game that's like a Lovecraftian monster. So like Thomas the Tank Engine will jump from the sky and come after him, or Shrek, and the chat basically kept trying to trick him into saying words that contain the sound. So like one of them was I think one of them was rock, and they'll try and make him say a word that contains rock in it without him realizing. And the amount of times they kept getting him or kept getting creative with it made it really funny. Truthfully, aside from him, really haven't been watching much. I've been watching Zeltic, so there's another one I'd recommend. But Point Crow especially, I guess.
Is the name of the creator?
Point Crow, I think that's his name.
Right, it's because there's a YouTuber that I watch from time to time who does similar content to with the chat, trying to get him to say things and whatnot. He does a lot of modded, especially GTA 5. It's basically, you know how Kawhi Kevin had the chaos mod. He basically does that, but way more engaging with chat rather than just being like chaos mod. It's kind of similar. There's the like, oh, if I say something, then something happens to my car, and so he has chat tries to get him to say things because of like sending donations, super chat. I don't remember the name. I'm trying to remember. But anyway. Oh, did EFAP really go live as when we went live? How long have they been live for?
I think like an hour or so, like maybe 2 hours.
2 hours. So they started streaming when Shandy started streaming. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, chat. That reminds me. I was in Shandy's stream today, talking about The Last of Us, and that's my recommendation. The Last of Us TV show. I liked it. It's not perfect. It's not even great, but it is good, and that's what I recommend. I think it does a lot really well, and in terms of video game adaptation, it's probably the most accurate, even if Arcane is way better. And I quite like it. If you want to see me talking about it, Shandy is still streaming with Colin, but I had to leave to come and do ECUM. But if you want to listen to what I said about it, it's like for around 2 hours, 2.5 hours, I talked about it on his stream. So you can go to his channel, check it out. And I quite like it. I have a lot of problems, but I also have a lot of praise for it. So, yeah. The Last of Us, good show. It's also the only thing I've watched recently because I've been, well, other than Sex Education, but I've just been rewatching that, and I think I already recommended it at some point. So, anyway, that's what I have to recommend. And I think that's it for. Oh, there they are.
Where the hell have you been?
So I was playing the RE4 remake demo, so that's precedence. Anyway, hey Zod, how you doing?
Hey guys.
Zod joined, but their mic doesn't work apparently.
No.
That's fine.
Speak up.
Show 100,000.
Zod, you're taking this not speaker thing too literally.
Yeah. I was gonna say, is Neb pretending to be Zod, because that would explain a lot, but he's not. Neb's offline, so.
Neb has hacked into Zod's account. He used me.
Yeah. Alright. So Zod is here in spirit, but not physically. I don't know.
Please check your mic settings, Zod.
At least Zod's PFP is beside me. I don't feel as lonely anymore. So we have that at least, I guess. I tried to remember the name of the YouTuber, Jeff, the one you talked about reminded me of, and I do not remember what it is. And apparently I'm not subscribed to him, so that doesn't help.
I joined without it asking me to put a username. What the hell?
It never... Why... It... whatever. I don't
Like,
care enough
usually it asks
disagree
me
with
to create a username, and I was going to do something offensive, and now I can't.
you can just click on your little thing on there and change your username.
No, that's too much effort now. It should be
It should force
encouraging
you.
me.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying. Please, Jesus Christ! Oh my God. Okay, I hate Twitch. I'm trying to find the YouTuber because I'm sure I follow them on Twitch.
Who
It is not
uses
friend.
Twitch nowadays? Really?
I mean, I barely use it. I usually just use it to watch Nepenthes, and even then, Scars.
Doug Memer, you would
Doug
know who
Doug,
the
that's the
is.
name. Doug Doug, that's the YouTuber. Yeah.
Doug Memer 74 won't know who Nepenthes is. That's how obscure you'll be.
Oh yes, the YouTuber with how many? I think he has 2 million, right? Let's see.
Yeah.
Nepenthes has. Why didn't? Okay, here we go. 1.96 million. So yeah, he's a very small YouTuber.
What do I think of each Ben 10 show? I'm gonna level with you. I watched all the original show, probably like everyone else has. The latest shows I haven't rewatched. Partially because I only want to watch the original show. So
Yeah, I've liked Ben 10 less and less with each new show, and I stopped watching ages ago because, you know, I kind of grew up. But I do really like the original show.
I think I watched all three actually.
see, this is why we have bad media nowadays. We've got people like 10 who watches all three.
Yeah, we'll watch the bad Ben 10s.
And to be fair, looking back, like I've been watching like the Ink Tanks video going through Ultimate Alien episode by episode. I can look back and see that Ultimate Alien was actually kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really kind of dropped off after Alien Force, I think, because like, as far as I'm concerned, I thought they were the same show. Like, I didn't realize they were like wholly different things. I knew, but like I knew like the intros and that and the names were different, but like it just felt like going from one to another. So I didn't see the point in the shake-up. And plus, I've heard that the reboot itself is like, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard the new one is bad. I've only really watched the original. I remember watching Alien Force a little, but not much. So that's my take. The original is good. Don't care about anything else. The live action film was fun. I remember that being really fun when I watched it as a kid. But it's probably really garbage because I watched it as a kid. But I remember it being fun. So
yeah, the first one especially. The second one they did for Alien Force was not great.
It's a children's show, 10.
Yeah, don't put your
You're a
bar
Sonic
high.
fan. Shut up.
Yeah.
Sonic is family friendly, not children's.
Zod didn't even enjoy the watch together. There's something wrong with them. I don't know what's happening. I'm rooting for you, Zod. You can do it.
If you're dead, Zod,
Don't
thank you. Thank you for making my day.
I want you to watch The Flash. Is it as bad as people say it is? Just watch Madviket's videos and then watch her reactions. That's way more entertaining. That's if Warner lets our videos stay up, because it's been rough, guys. Last week has been rough.
I'm going to note with you. The Flash is worse than what people say it is, because everyone goes the early seasons are good, or they're alright. No, they're not. I don't know where we came into this reality, but we did. So, yeah,
they have some good
bad
scenes, and they get rarer as the seasons go on, as the show goes on. But it's not like the earlier seasons were good. They just had bad, like, high frequency of good scenes, but they still had the same issues that they do now. So yeah.
I think it might be because, like, as the show got worse, they propped up the first few seasons as like that. They didn't have the issues weren't as obvious as they are like seeing after
But yeah, a lot of
series.
the things that got worse as the show went on was like production, which is like very apparent, and you kind of tied that in with like, oh, so the quality of the show went down, and you can see that by the quality of the effects going down, the quality of practical and CGI, practical effects and CGI going down, the quality of sets, and they can't get as many returning actors now because budget goes down and shit like that. I think people tie that in with like the actual quality of the show, but I think it's just like it's funny to do that because it was never really good. So
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Well, Zod is here in spirit, but I think we should get started with the video. I don't know what else to say. This video is called "Objectivity is the New Literally," and Jeb kind of talked about actual fandom in the beginning of the stream. If you guys want to hear what he has to say, basically the history that we kind of have with them, basically just Jeb has with them, but alas.
We're chums, actual Fandom and I. We go way back.
Yeah. Good pals. He loves your mom, isn't that right? Yeah. Anyway, this video, Jeb watched it. He said it's ECUM worthy, so it's kind of what we want to talk about. It's I might show the thumbnail. I think I will. It's basically a video trying to tackle the idea of objectivity when it relates to Mueller, especially the way he uses and talks about objectivity. Let me get the thumbnail. Hold on. Where is it? Here we go. Let me take off the cover. Here we go. So this video here, objectivity is the new literally, is the video we're covering. And as I mentioned, it is a bit about Mueller, so you can see Mueller's face in the thumbnail, which I don't like. Mueller doesn't really use his face basically anywhere online anymore. He used to on streams. I just don't see the point of using that on a thumbnail, especially because like Mueller's way more recognizable by his profile picture of the gas mask, but whatever. And actual Fandom is going to talk about the use of objectivity and the word objectively when it talks to and relates to media, which is something that if you've watched this, we kind of moved away from using like objectively as a way to measure quality or like objectivity, because objective quality is not something that I think makes a lot of sense, but we still think that like you can use objectivity in a sense to talk about media, like just the simple way of trying to like take away your feelings and simply talking about the media, trying to see what's consistent and what's inconsistent, and whether that's good or bad is not, it's up to each person, but you can be objective about like certain aspects of things. So yeah, that's basically the idea.
When you guys watch this video, I want you to bear in mind that this guy it comes across as very much like I am the anti-TFM type. I am nothing like them. We are better. To the point where they make Google Docs for anyone being bullied and harassed, which isn't a bad thing. But I want you to bear in mind what his actions are doing during this video and how they're counterintuitive to those goals.
Yeah, he's the entire thing about him is that he is I don't even know how to describe. He's basically an ambassador for people who want to like go up against the Fandom Menace and people and EFAP and people like that, like Young Reaper, those kinds of people. It's kind of weird to put EFAP on the same level as those people, but whatever, they do. And so he, obviously he takes a lot of issue with things like what the Fandom Menace does, of bringing up, people's past to say that they're bad people because of it, even though they, changed over time, and talking about people's appearances, and obviously just talking about like their incessant need to like talk about the politics of someone. I did say this like, oh, something being political is bad, and it's like, oh, it's leftist, it's woke propaganda and shit like that. Like obviously something he takes issue with. So yeah, I think we can get started then.
Previously on She-Hulk.
There are people that just feel so insecure, I think. They can't stand the idea of anyone thinking differently than them. and so they have to call it objective. But as I've said before, how is it objective if we disagree?
That's
What a great start.
yeah, that's already a bad start. That being objective and disagreeing is not those aren't like that's not a contradiction. If you disagree with something, that doesn't make the thing they're saying less objective. You can say that it's pretty simple. The Earth is round. They're flat earthers. They disagree with people that say the Earth is round. Does that mean that it's not an objective fact that the Earth is round? No, it is. So that's a very silly and self-defeating argument.
I will say, just for context, these appear to be like key moments during another video. There's like a 3-part film. We're in the second one, I think. But yeah, it's for some reason a lot of people, and he's done this, conflate objectivity with
Universal agreement, basically.
Yeah, and that's not the case. Objectivity is about bias. It tends to be a factual aspect, and as Sky said, we know objectively the Earth is round. We've proven it mathematically.
Zod?
I can hear something.
Yeah, the icon's green. Zod? Alright, well, Zod is still not here, but he's almost here. Alright, Jeb, go on.
But yeah, so it's like, yeah, everyone. The fact is, in the wild, everyone's going to disagree with something because of how diverse people are. So, if we take this down this route, objectivity as a concept just cannot exist. So why do we even have the word for it? That's the logic they go down. And also, do they disagree that objectively the word objective means this? Do they disagree with that logic? Because then
that means that you can't.
Which means it defeats their entire point in the first place.
Yeah.
It's, to put it this way, actual fandom's a bit of a brain nut. He can't comprehend what objectivity is for some reason.
Hey, Madvocat's asking who the green fox is. That's our that's the good old Madv Obama. That's who we have. Madv Obama to my left. That's who the green fox is. So, it's for your information, Madvocate. Your brother. He's become a furry. So that's what it is.
Hey, big bro.
I hope Zoe joins the call soon. Do you mean Zod, Madvocate? Or do you just wish we had like a host called Zoe? Because you know what? I think that's cool. I like the name Zoe.
I don't want any females on the stream, and yet I'm stuck.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Like, I don't know what's happened with my life to be stuck with 2.
Well, that's what you kind of went on for too long. You lost the man along the way.
Yeah, just a heads up. It's my last ECUM.
Yeah, gotten 2 female.
It's his retirement party.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Matka was making fun of introverted robot. That makes sense. I didn't see that. Introverted robot said Zoe's ghost is trying to make contact with the human realm. That's fine then.
True. Watch their head explode.
Oh, right, yeah.
Watch their head explode. No, it didn't.
I just want to point out that other guy, I'm pretty sure I've taken drugs whenever he talks, because I've never seen someone so retarded and brain dead. I don't understand what they're saying.
Oh my god.
There's a reason why he has Michael Bay as his face, with the muscular thing, and thinks, you know what, that'll work. There's got to be a reason why, like, he has the brain of a 5-year-old.
I mean, seriously, are you saying that people who disagree with what you claim to be an objective take on a movie, are they insane?
No, they're just wrong. It's fine to be wrong. What? Nobody's saying they're insane. They're just wrong. That's what the people are saying. It's like if I say that in Sonic 2, Obama showed up and gave Knuckles an RPG, and that's how they beat Robotnik, you'd be like, you're wrong. You might say I'm insane, but I'm just wrong. That's an objective fact. I'm wrong. It's fine that I'm wrong. You can just be like, no, actually, that didn't happen. Here is the evidence, which is the film. And then I rewatched the film, like, oh, shit, I must have dreamt that, I guess. And that's how it's resolved. It's like, you don't need to take everything to like, oh, you think they're insane? It's like, what's the name? It's a reductio ad absurdum, right? The fallacy where you kind of make the other side's arguments seem absurd, and that's how you make them sound like less legitimate. But it's not. They're not saying they're insane. They're just saying they're wrong, and it's fine to think someone else is wrong because you're gonna think you yourself are right. That's just how life works. You always think you're the correct one until proven otherwise, because you hold your positions because you think you're right. That's just simple logic. Clearly, you
That's
didn't
just-
watch the Sonic 2 director's cut. That's true, man. Because sorry, my bad.
This guy is one of the people that is most prone to that fallacy. I've never seen someone take any argument into the worst possible interpretation and run with it.
Oh,
This-
I've seen Hassan when people said, "Hey, maybe when you're taking like a break to pee, maybe just don't play someone else's video." And he was like, "What do you want me to do? Die?" So like, I think that's probably the worst case I've seen of that. But this could be a close second, Jeb. I'll allow you
mean-
to have that interpretation.
You gotta think, just because I merely went, I don't think insulting people for no reason in your video is a good representation of your character. He called me a cultist.
Oh yeah, he said, "You fat cultist." That was funny.
And I'm like, I don't know, man. I just don't want you insulting people.
Are they below intelligence level that's worth considering? What?
No. What? If someone disagrees with you, especially because Mahler has said that billions of times and had people want to debate things, if you have better information that can prove that Mahler is like objectively wrong about something, he will be like, "Oh, okay, so I'm just wrong." It's not like it is worth listening. They've debated TLJ fans. They've debated people who think the things they think are bad or good. They watch a lot of videos about people who think things they disagree with that they think are bad or good. The entire point is that you can EFAP used to be a lot like, oh, you can get to an objective understanding of like the quality of something based on its consistency, and I kind of agree that it's the consistency of something you can kind of objectively qualify, though it's going to be depending on your own personal standards for what qualifies as like a fair inference and contrivance and shit like that. But you can still kind of do it objectively if you just follow those standards, like objectively, like So it's like, as long as you can prove that maybe like as I said, if I say that what happened in Sonic 2 is that with Obama, and Jeb is like, no, actually that isn't true, I'm gonna listen to Jeb. Because maybe I just got the facts wrong. That's the conversation we're having. And the point of EFAP, especially in Mahler's videos, is to have conversations and discussions about media. So it's not like they wouldn't listen to people who disagree and have other opinions of them. They do. So I don't know. I think that's very silly to say. I think there's a very clear misunderstanding of the way EFAP and Mahler do things.
Actual fandom misunderstanding something? No.
Yeah. It's just like, if you say something is objective, that doesn't, like, objectively good, bad, whatever, you're not saying that anyone's inferior. It's just the conclusion you came based on the facts you have. If new facts are presented, you come to a different conclusion. And if you think you can, like, get to quality objectively, whatever, I don't. But if you think that, you can still have discussions and debates with people who disagree with you, and if they present better, facts and good rebuttals to what you said, it's like, oh, that actually makes sense. As long as it makes sense, that's all that's needed, right? Like, it's not inherently inferior, but saying a film is objectively good or bad doesn't mean that any person who disagrees is inherently inferior. They just have a different perspective that might be worth listening to, and sometimes they do that on EFAP. It's not the same as like a flat earther who is objectively wrong about the Earth being flat, and that whose opinion isn't worth listening to. Like, it's just not. So I don't know. I think this is a silly way to frame the objectivity thing. Again, it kind of seems like he's just making it sound more reductive and absurd than it actually is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Obama say, my younger kid not take this RPG and blow the fuck out of Eggman and Trump's tower like a true moment is now something I want.
It's really funny that we're making Sonic characters pro-government when the games have Sonic very anti-government and the government kill a child.
No, you see, Knuckles is just naive. And to be fair, if it is to stop Robotnik, I think Knuckles would take Obama's help.
Nah, he wouldn't.
Mm. He'd be so anti-establishment that he would rather let people die than to take an RPG from Obama. This is a conversation we're having, guys. Did you expect this to happen when you woke up today? Did you think, I wonder if we're gonna talk about Obama and Sonic and Knuckles? You didn't, and that here we
In
are.
the Knuckles show, we're gonna get an Obama cameo.
Amen. Zod?
Are you here for Obama,
Yeah.
Knuckles?
Sonic. It's just Zod went deafened himself a few times, and they still. I don't know what's happening with Zod, honestly.
Thing is, has Zod even said anything in the group chat? No. So
No,
like,
and they're not in the watch together. I don't know, man. Something's happening. Anyway, never expected. I never expected less from an ECUM stream. That's fair. To be fair, we do talk about some interesting things. Wait, Zod.
Hi.
Hey, Zod.
No, I'm sorry. Like
Holy
you
shit,
have
finally.
no,
Jesus.
no. I don't want any of that. You have not said anything anywhere, and you are now going, "Oh, piece of shit!" Finally, like what?
Yeah,
Why
I
not
thought you
just
joined the
go-
call by accident and you were still playing RE4 and you just didn't know that you joined the call.
No, legitimately, I've been working this entire time to try and figure out what the fuck is happening with my microphone because literally none of them, not the ones on my headset, not the fucking Blue Yeti, none of it was connecting at all.
So rather than just go, "Hey, my mic's having issues,"
Yeah,
and
you could have
have
just
us
said in
try
chat.
troubleshoot.
So we knew what was happening. We thought I thought your Discord was like either bugs or you joined the call without realizing, and you were like away from your computer or something. Like you could have just told us, but you know what? It's fine. That was funnier anyway.
Yeah.
Because we were
Hey,
guessing
that-
whether you were here or not.
Jeb works in IT. Sky seems to be very good with Discord. We won't ask them.
It's fine.
Well,
Just join the
knowing
one
Zod-
together, Zod. I believe in you.
Knowing
Well,
Zod, they'd probably ask me.
Well,
You do just make things worse.
well, you see, what happened like recently was I disconnected at one point, didn't I? And that's because my laptop decided to crash entirely, so yeah, that didn't help.
Uh,
But
Do you not have a phone, my man?
shut up. Yeah, the issue, it turned out, it seems, was that a driver needed updating. So
oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could have figured that out very quickly. I'm not gonna lie.
You know what,
Well-
Zod, Jeb, it took... when did you join the call? This isn't like less than half an hour ago. So, you know,
that's something.
yeah, that's not too long, Jeb. I think you're just being mean.
No, that's horrible.
So he's a strong, confident person who don't need no Sky and Jeb. Amen. Anyway, Zod, join the live together, please.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for being so late. I don't want to know your recommendation. You didn't even ask for technical support.
We've already moved on from the recommendation corner. If I remember, I'll ask you after we're done with the video. I probably
I
won't
feel-
remember, but I can try.
I think we've moved on from you as well, Zod. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, sorry, Zod. This is your last ECUM as well. Last ECUM
Uh.
from Jab and Zod. It's just me and Tin from now on. Need a CW live action actual fandom video about objectivity show. Amen. I forgot that I forgot that I put on the title that it's a masterpiece, and it took me a while to understand why Southpaw said that. But yes, I agree.
I don't want a Tin and Sky podcast only because it'd be like an 80s sitcom.
I do think it'd be very funny, to be fair. Yeah, I think it would be very sitcomish. Because I'm the straight man and Tin would be the goofy dumb one. I think it's like perfect. Not to insult you, Tin, but like you know, I'm right.
Yeah, true.
Alright, anyway, let's get down to business. Let's get back to the video. Now that Zod is among us. I did say among us, chat. Laugh now.
What is it? Can you explain to me what about those people?
You just don't understand good writing.
Did they understand good writing? Because what it seems to me when it comes to those types, and you know who we're talking about, these YouTubers who try to use
You could have used a better PNG that didn't leave like a stroke around it. I don't know. Maybe it's
No.
like a funny that he used a PNG that isn't like, properly a PNG. The background actually being removed. But I don't like it
Look,
personally.
you're
I don't like it.
you're gonna come to find that this video is edited like a 5-year-old with Tourette's and Parkinson's all in one.
Okay. That's interesting.
Fair enough.
Is that a
So-
Hamlet reference? It is a Hamlet reference. I'm glad you're the only one who caught it, Kangaroo Monkey.
What the fuck is Hamlet? Who cares about Shakespeare right now?
I made a reference when I said Among Us, Jeff. That's a Hamlet reference.
Well, I tell you what. Why don't you play Among Us, get killed, and then cry about it?
Okay, I'm gonna open it up right now. Do I have it? I don't think I have it installed, actually. Anyway, actual fandom.
Objectivity as their framework. It seems to me like they're post hoc rationalizing, they're basically their emotional and instinctive reactions to something. Didn't like Last Jedi because maybe did something that they didn't think Star Wars should do. Okay, fine. But then in hindsight, then they have to make 4-5 hour, videos, streams, talk, like basically just figuring out ways to justify this.
I don't think
You-
Mahler does it to justify it. I think it's deep. I think what he does is like he likes talking about flaws in media and what could have been done better. And figuring out like, because like a lot of the times you get an emotional reaction and you don't know how to explain it, right? And then you try to figure out why did I feel that when I was watching that film? Like, why didn't I like that film? And a lot of the time it's like, I need to understand why. And you think about the decisions and what, connected one thing to another. And you're like, this scene, like once you start thinking about like the meat of a scene, you're like, I don't like that. And you're like, oh, that's probably why I felt bad when I was watching this film. I think it's very interesting to start to try to understand why a piece of media makes you feel how you feel, even if it is after the fact. I don't think it needs to be inherently just like, you watched the film and your first impression is all that matters. Like what you came away from it with. You can find new issues as it goes on. It's the same thing with like for my Ant-Man and the Wasp video. I really hate that film, and I already hated it when I decided to make this series about Ant-Man. The Ant-Man films. And when I went to take my notes for it, I got even madder because I found more and more issues because the film is just littered with like really stupid things. And I was figuring out why the film felt so like off to me, and I found more issues, and I was trying not only to be accurate with my criticisms of what I believe to be good storytelling, but also things that annoy me, because there are things that I criticize in my video that aren't inherently just like something is inconsistent. It's also just things that I'm like why would you do this? Like it's just a silly idea that detracts from the personal experience I have with the film, but it's not inherently like an issue in terms of consistency, So I think a lot of it is trying to figure out why you feel a certain way and how you can rationalize it. And earlier today I was talking to Shandy and Colum about The Last of Us, and there were moments where like I did not like this scene in The Last of Us, but I can't really explain why because I've only seen the show once. And I'm sure if I rewatch the show, I'm either gonna change my mind or I'm gonna be able to figure out why I didn't like a certain scene or not. So I don't know. I just think it's worth it to like reassess media that you, maybe not reassess, but reevaluate and try to understand better something that you already watched and you already had an emotional response to by simply like trying to understand why you had that response to it, basically.
I also think it's quite wild to go, oh, they spend hours justifying their view. I'm like, isn't that what we, not hours for everyone, but isn't that what we all do? We explain our views, we elaborate, we
Mhm.
explore it.
Yeah.
That's the basis of discussion.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
I don't know, man. I think it's just like if you feel like I didn't like something, I'm gonna make a video on it. The least you would expect the person to do is rewatch and be accurate with it. And sometimes being accurate, especially for Mahler, because he likes to be very doing a lot of research. It is about like trying to get all the information out in a proper and clear way, which sometimes is a lot of time for Mahler, and I don't think that's an issue inherently. It's the kind of media, the YouTube video that I like to watch. There's the comprehensive, clear, and take the time they need to say something.
Yeah, it just comes off very condescending when you make points like that's being made right now.
Yeah, it just feels like just because like someone had a bad experience with the film or something, they are not allowed to like make a video about what they believe to be all of the issues with it, if they found those issues like after they watched the film at first, because I don't think an experience of like media is just the first time you watch it. I think a lot of what I like about media is the discussion around it. Like I've shown Legion to hundreds of people, and it's because I really like hearing other people's perspectives and trying to get them to understand why I like this show so much. And I find out new things about Legion every time I watch, and it makes me very happy the more things I find about Legion, because it makes me appreciate the show even more. In the same vein, when you watch something that's bad and you rewatch it to try to understand all the issues with it, I think it's better that if you do find all the issues, that you can like try to make criticisms about that and talk about how something could be improved, or something, you know, how you could write a good version of maybe that story, or why you think it is bad that something is in, you know, that film, like a choice that was made that impacted the film largely, and you explain why it impacts the film largely, even if you didn't like realize it at first. I think it's just, I don't know, I think this is kind of like trying to boil down the experience with media as like your first watch is kind of all that matters, which seems a bit silly. I don't know. I think media is way more than just your first watch or first impressions of it.
I'd certainly hope so.
Who are we looking at? A Mauler.
I was 2,000 subscribers before The Last Jedi came out.
This isn't over, hater.
What?
What?
The fuck was that editing? He
I'm
cut
telling
himself
you,
off
this is-
halfway through reading the tweet, and it just came. It was just like a She-Hulk clip, I guess.
I'm telling you, this happens throughout the entire video. The editing is absurd.
all right.
Look at this. Excellent editing.
Thumbit. AF.
This was when he hit 100,000. I think it's got a lot more than that now. This was October 2018.
Yeah, it's got like
You know,
300,000.
they
I think.
do at
400
least
maybe.
put some effort into justifying their opinions.
Room crashing scene is one of the most fun scenes in the
Watching videos by people simply giving their opinions of media, smugly and childish, mocking them while offering nothing of value. Let's see.
It's probably
Let me just
ranked.
read what Cinema One says. Boy, was it fun! Seriously, a great time. I think the Red Room crashing scene is one of the most fun scenes in the MCU. That's a hot take, and I am a little MCU deprived at this point.
MC.
Fuck me, you will clap at anything.
The
you
rank is
can
so
see.
big, there's so many explosions.
Okay, you could have let Waller at least say the letter S of explosions. Like, Jesus Christ, the editing. I don't think that's an issue the way they reacted to that. I probably would have reacted the same, especially by watching the entire video. They were already like 160 wins in. Usually the Cinema Wins is like 100 wins for this silly thing, but whatever. I don't know, the reaction seemed fine to me. It kind of seems like Cinema Wins is just liking it because it kind of looks splendid. And also, obviously, like, actual Fandom didn't put the entire context from Cinema Wins' video, which is kind of annoying, because if we had heard what Cinema Wins says to justify their opinion of why they think that scene is fun, that could have helped a lot to understand if EFAP was being very, very smug with the way they respond to that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like you could tell where it's cut off deliberately, and I'm like, if you're gonna cut it in a certain way, at the very least include the timestamp to back you up, and it's something I give SK praise for. In his video, he gives the timestamps of it, so at least
It makes it
You
easy
know,
to fact check it, yeah.
yeah.
Alright, let's see this one. Is this the... I hope it's the 8080 chat Mando Season 2 Top 10 Moments video, because, you know, I'm not gonna say why, but Madvika will understand it. He's in chat. He gets it.
Of course, we're skeptical,
Oh, no,
especially
it's
'cause-
No,
you
Cosmonaut.
No, you
no,
fucking
no.
won't. You're gonna eat this shit up like
Sorry.
anything.
The
you
rank is
can
so
see.
big, there's so
Gonna
many
read-
explosions.
but I, of course, will remain skeptical, especially 'cause-
No,
you won't.
no,
No, you
no.
fucking won't. You're gonna eat this shit up like the good consumer you are, like the good boy you are. You're gonna eat.
The person reviewing is a consumer, while they are not. Thought terminating cliche. What? Well, considering Cosmonaut likes a lot of shit that doesn't have a lot of substance, especially Mando, which is like the pinnacle of like substanceless show, substanceless media. That's the conclusion they're having later in their in the coverage. This is again like I need context. I would have needed probably to watch the entire video and their response to it to understand how they arrived here. You can't just like have moments like this. If you wanted a moment like this would actually have been good, it's from the debate I was in in 112 when Zach is trying to defend one of the points in TASM 2 when Rex is like, and Zach's like, let me finish my point. And Rex is like, do you really want to? Do you want to? Like, look at you trying to defend this film. Just very smug and not actually addressing the point. That's a very good example of them not listening properly to the arguments that people are making and just like trying to diminish their perspectives, basically. I don't think these are. I think you would have needed a lot more context. And I think the clip I'm thinking of in 112 is one that you wouldn't have needed to add that much context for me to know if what you're saying is like a fair criticism of EFAP or not. I usually...
And also...
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Also, this started off as smaller specific. It's now turned into all of them, and I'm kind of like... You need to better transition to that, because you can't specify them all and then go to the rest.
Yeah, it's especially when Regs is the one that's saying it the most, right? Regs is the one that has these more like condescending and smug attitudes on EFAP. He's usually the one that annoys me the most with that.
Yeah.
Eat this shit up for breakfast, and you're gonna love it, and you're gonna say it's a 10 out of 10 because you clearly don't actually give a shit about its quality.
What would she know about?
They believe it's unethical for Jen to sleep with the menace She-Hulk, whose identity is public, then reverting to her original form. Yeah,
So-
it would be, yeah. So
this is-
okay. If that guy doesn't know, just because it's public, that doesn't mean he knows, right? Like, just
Yes.
because it's a public thing, that doesn't mean people know. I'm sure there are people in the Marvel universe who don't know Tony Stark is Iron Man. It's just some things that happen. People don't know everything that's happening, especially because She-Hulk is like not huge news as compared to like other things, and it's very easy to miss news sometimes. Like there's so many times when Neb says something, I'm like, this has been everywhere on Twitter today, and how did you like miss it? How did you only now find out about it? I think it's very easy for you to end up missing news like by accident. The issue with their argument is that he actually does know that Jen and She-Hulk are the same person because she mentions changing forms, which I actually brought up to Mahler. I think I might say what he said. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he would be fine with me talking about it. I don't think he would consider it violation of privacy or something. Maybe I'll let this finish. Maybe just to see if actual Fandom says something else here in the text.
The ethics of the situations like this. It's not like she's familiar with any of these kinds of situations. It's not like she had to learn about how these can have repercussions in law even or anything. Really bothers
So what happens when you're too busy finding things you should talk to actually
me
follow
when
along.
characters like who work about this shit for a living have no idea how this works. Very bad, not good. Wonder Woman 84 vibes.
Had her
Is that it? All right. So, here I'm gonna read out my my DMs in Mahler. Said, hey Mahler, I meant to ask this when I first watched EFAP 203, but I ended up forgetting. I don't know if you've addressed this, but I remember the panel mentioning that She-Hulk catfished or something of that nature the guy she sleeps with in the Donnie Blaze episode, because she shouldn't assume he knew she was Jen Waters, but she does tell him about her transforming, and he does acknowledge it as something she can do. So surely this means the guy shouldn't be really surprised when he sees her in her Jen form at the end. But also, she didn't really do anything wrong. I don't know if you talked about this at all on EFAP after 203. Well, you now had time to watch 206. But it is something that I meant to ask you about, because I don't think it's fair to say she was in the wrong here. And then I showed 3 screenshots from She-Hulk, which have the subtitles of her saying, for talking to the guy, being like, right in the middle of the lobby in front of everyone, I had to transform. And then he says, wow, I can totally see how your boss springing that on you on the first day would make you spiral. So clearly he knows that she can transform. And then Mahler said, I definitely should have gone through that as a reference. Imagine we can agree it's poorly executed in general. But what I would say about this is that she has told him she transforms, and he has not been given any more context, to the point that he says in future episodes that he has no interest in Jen. Combine that with the end of the episode, and I think we're dealing with shoddy writing that has accidentally implied she avoids giving any details about the way she looks or who she is, that would possibly lock out the potential of sleeping with this guy. And then I said, I imagine he could have asked, though, if he was worried about how that might work and how it might turn turn him off from her. Basically, if she mentions that she can transform, he would have probably asked her more about it, and he doesn't. And then Mueller says, I suppose what we are given tells us he didn't, and yet is something he has concerns over, and thus he didn't understand what she meant by transforms. And then I was replying to the combine that with the end of the episode. I said, considering what she says about women being sexualized and in danger and everything, surely she'd be more open. But, the show is great. Sarcastically, because, it's She-Hulk. And then in relation to him saying, I suppose what we are given tells us he didn't care, but also he has concerns over, I said, yeah, it's Schrodinger's character writing made to make every man look bad in the show. It's kind of wild. And then he says, the reference that is a stickler for me is that she uses being She-Hulk as an interesting reveal to the guy who isn't listening to her in a date. And it seems like had she told this guy or shown him who she is in both forms, he would have left, which makes you think she chose this. But I understand the writers absolutely wouldn't want to write her that way. Patty wouldn't have written Wonder Woman in that way if she could go back. And I said, of course. And he says, but it is super confusing because of the ineptitude for sure. And I said, yeah, I think it's a weird scene anyway. It's clear what it's trying to say. Madvicat said when we were watching, he doesn't like her without makeup, like right away. Which, yeah, it's in our ECUM reaction, if you guys don't know. And I said, but it butchers it really hard the way you look at it. And Mueller says, oh yeah, butchered for sure. I was confused in that if he loves She-Hulk but not Jen, then is he fine with her mostly being She-Hulk form? Being Hulk form? He just leaves. So did he not know ahead of time? Was he only there for the booty call or something? I really don't know. I said, if that's so, I guess he was just pretending to be a good listener, because the moment says, I don't like talking about myself, Jen says, let's go to my place, which also annoyed me, but that's beside the point. He said, but the following episode seems to think he's a good guy, like he wasn't just trying to have sex with She-Hulk. Like, I wish they were clearer on this. And then we talked about the finale, which is unrelated to this. So the point is, Mueller clearly seems to understand the references about that guy being knowing that she can transform, and he's still thinking it is unethical because the way it is presented makes it seem like Jen wasn't like 100% clear with what she meant about transforming, and clearly the guy didn't know that who Jen was, what she looked like, or anything like that, because he is surprised by it at the end. So he just finds it to be very confusing, and it is giving an implication that is a bit off, but not inherently that it is like rape or something. Just that it seems unethical and they should have been clearer. From what he talked to me about, it seems like he doesn't think it's like rape or anything like that. Just that it is creepy and a bit weird. So that's the thing I got from him. I don't know if that was clearer in other EFAP episodes, because I've not watched EFAP a lot recently. I've watched some episodes, but most of them I haven't. So the point of me bringing that up is that I think Mueller clearly understood what was going on in the show, and maybe he just didn't word himself properly in the stream. And he even said, like, I should have gone through that reference. And he didn't really make a correction later in the other She-Hulk streams, which disappointed me. But I think he understands what he was saying with that. I don't think he wasn't paying attention to the show. So that's basically the point I wanted to make by reading the DMs. I went on for very long. I'm sorry, but I thought that was worth bringing up because it is something I talked to Mueller about.
Blah, blah, blah.
Amen, Jeb. Also, one thing that I don't
Exactly.
like, why is there like a weird outline with the EFAP like videos? Did you like not record on full screen? It's not hard to record YouTube videos on full screen. I don't get it. Like, you see there's some black bars here, but they're not consistent like around the video.
It's like it's cropped almost.
Yeah, it's weirdly cropped. Either you download the stream, which is easy to do with like 4K video downloader or something, or you just you record it, you make it full screen, then you record it. It's very easy. I do that very often with recording things for my videos from YouTube. So.
I think another thing to take away from the BMs as well is not like entirely relevant, but like just basic idea that like if you disagree with him on like a point like that, all you have to do is just like reach out to him and like show some references, and you can have like an actual conversation with him, like, just fine. It's like back when the Batman was first released, I heard about some of his criticisms and I reached out to him about those, but yeah, we didn't end up coming to much of them conclusion because we didn't have all the references. But point is, it's just he's very easy to just have that sort of conversation.
Yeah.
It's not just gonna devolve into shit. Like he's gonna.
Yeah,
pay
it's just
attention
a
to points and
disagreement, and it
respond.
kind of like disproves the point of what actual Fandom was saying earlier about like not worth listening to people who disagree with you because their opinion is inferior. Clearly, Mahler doesn't think that. He engages with it. And like, yeah, I just remember, yeah, fucking we went on EFAP to defend the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like, he clearly is willing to hear other opinions if they're like way out of the box. Because liking the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a wild opinion.
I think another thing as well is that, but EFAP 112 was quite a while ago at this point, and I think like something to bear in mind is that they have like, especially like recently, they've grown in a way, like they approach things a lot more differently than they used to. Like, they used to be much more aggressive and. Yeah, they'd always throw around the terms like Mary Sue and objective and all these other things, but like they've leaned more towards having like better discussions, and like again, just like especially in like recent months due to things like God of War and like stuff like that. Just, I think the main thing is that they've been around long enough now and gained a big enough audience to just sort of see that some attitudes just don't get them particularly anywhere helpful.
Yeah.
So it's like they're taking a more sort of chill approach. Like they don't even do much video coverage these days. It's more discussion.
Just
streams.
discussions, yeah.
So
yeah, aren't they like currently like right now talking about Shazam 2, like just having a discussion? Yeah, complete breakdown. Yeah, so.
Yeah, so that's just something to bear in mind when, because like, a lot of the clips, like actual fandoms using here are from like older streams.
Yeah.
Where, so it's just worth.
Yeah,
bearing
it's
in
the
mind
same.
that
If you
things have changed.
get clips from ECUM from our earlier streams, you're gonna get similar things. We used to be a lot like them, a lot more aggressive as well, a lot saying a lot harsher words. I've like personally stopped using a few words, not like through like personal choice, but it just like subconsciously like took them away from my vocabulary. And I think EFAP has done the same as from the few streams I've watched, which I appreciate because it seems just like way more chill and more entertaining to watch than just being very aggressive about it. So
yeah, it's just the thing to remember that people can change a lot in quite a short amount of time. Like if you'd like talk to me like 3 years ago, you'd find me to be like very sort of anti-SJW, like even practically like transphobic at point.
Oh yeah.
Person.
Yeah.
I think the 3 out of 4 of us here used to be a lot like that.
Yeah.
I have no solid proof.
Yeah, as Twitter Barry says, feelings change. So
the irony is that the one that makes all the transphobic jokes is the one
yeah.
that was never transphobic.
Yeah. To be fair, you used to watch As, yeah, but I never watched As, so I went.
Oh God, that's the worst. Yeah, no.
He did. As did redeem himself when he became a hero in the Flash, though, so it's fine. I'm glad someone laughed. I was waiting for someone to laugh before I could press play. Thank you, Zod. Anyway, I think we can move on with the video.
Is a great character. We had that thing in this film. You're clapping at like a fuck.
Emotionally charged, yeah, empty language, vague gesturing to that thing being ruined.
Fucking retard ruined that.
No, he explains what that thing is, right? Which is the substance to Black Widow's character, right? He said that in the beginning of the clip. Am I going insane?
Full vibes.
Had her as a great character. We had
Yeah, we had her as a great character. We had that thing, and now it's been ruined. It's not vague. We get what it's been ruined. It's her character, and I'm sure they talk about at length why her character has been destroyed in that stream. So I'm confused. This seems like purposefully like taking out context, just to make them look bad. Which, like as I was saying, they used to be a lot more aggressive back then. You can definitely find clips of them being like needlessly aggressive. These aren't the ones that I would use personally. Like there's a fucking stream. You know, fuck, what's his name? That guy who like cried at the Rise of Skywalker trailer. I forgot his name.
Eric Butts, I think he's called.
Exactly, thank you. I knew it was Eric something. I was gonna say Eric Voss, but then I was like, no, probably not. Eric Butts. He cried. He had the reaction video where he cried at the Rise of Skywalker trailer, and they reacted to it on EFAP, and it was like very uncomfortable because they're just making fun of him for like liking Star Wars. It's not like he's doing anything other than crying. He's just very emotional. And there's a moment where like Wolf says that Eric Butts looks like a scoosher or something. Like that really puts me off. I find that fucking strange as hell. Like that's the kind of clip you use. It's not this one, right? I think this is really strange.
And even then, you wouldn't use that because Wolf is against what they said then.
Yeah, he like expressed a lot of regret and discomfort over his what he's done online. So
yeah, I'm just saying like that's the kind of clip you use. Like it's not the ones he's trying to find. I think maybe he just didn't watch enough of EFAP to find these clips. I don't think it would be that hard. I think he just watched like 5 streams, maybe not even fully, and it was just like trying to find the clips. Kind of like what's his name? Organized Chaos did with Mauler's Multiverse of Madness video, where he just jumped around the video trying to find moments where Mauler was being like bigoted, and he couldn't find them because Mauler isn't bigoted in that video. It was just like, ooh, let's see the scene about the lesbian moms, and then Mauler just does not mention at all of the fact that they're lesbians, and it was just so funny because like, oh, I guess he doesn't take an issue with that. It was very funny. You're just trying to find things to be mad at, and it's I guess kind of cherry picking. I don't know. So they got the clips from SK. Well, maybe he did. If he did, then I would criticize SK for picking these clips, personally. Either way, I don't find the selection of clips good. He took these from EFAP Pals. I'm sure EFAP Pals has posted worse clips than these ones as well. So I don't know why he used these ones. I don't really like that the Twitter page either, but anyway.
Thing in this film you're clapping at like a fucking retard ruined that.
So when you look at a Mauler video, which who has the time?
I do. I've watched that video like 3 times. To be fair, I watch it in 2x speed, but it's a good thing to put in the background. I'm like playing FIFA or something like that, or rendering a video, just because I like listening to people talk about media, and I like Mauler's voice, and I hate Multiverse of Madness, so it's the perfect combo. So yeah, I've watched it a few times.
This is the point in the video where I was kind of like, I know where everything is going here, because I'm not saying
this feels like it's going to a long man bad kind of vibe, which I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not appreciating.
And I'm not saying that you have to watch all of Mauler's videos or consume all his content. At least watch like, I don't know, an hour of it, or at least show that you've seen an hour of it. Because if you're going to cover objectivity and you're tackling the main person that's behind that stance, the kingpin of it all, do some research. Go in, oh my god, it's long. What the fuck with this edit? It shows you're misinformed, and it undermines your points even more.
Well, it's interesting. You know, that was the big, like, Twitter outrage about YMS because he reviewed films that he hadn't finished watching, which Twitter didn't get the information accurate on that. But anyway, people are really mad because it's like, obviously, if you're going to talk about something, you're going to review it, you're going to have watched it. Like, that's the minimum, like, requirement for it. You need to have watched it. And it's just like, I think people don't take the same approach when it's about, like, talking about YouTubers, like, content creators like that. It's like, I'm not going to put in the time to do this because it's too long. As if they're, like, not worth the same effort just because they're YouTubers. But it's like, I still think you should, like, the minimum requirement is still to, like, watch the content if you are going to criticize it. You don't need to watch all of it. I don't expect you to watch 230 episodes of EFAP. But there is a lot, especially watching the recent ones, and you can put at 2x speed. You know, there's a lot you can do to make it more time effective and still be able to get your information accurate, you know?
And to be fair, if you're going to cover EFAP and such, you cannot make the complaint, oh, I have to do a lot of research. You know that going into it. If you really want to cover it, you accept that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna... It's just like someone making a video about Supernatural after having watched like half of the first season, half of the 15th season. And be like, you know, I get the gist of it. If you are gonna make a video about Supernatural, maybe watch the whole thing, you know? It is long, but if you want to do it, you kind of have... Like, that's the requirement. Just because it's long, it's not really an excuse to not watch it. I find it silly. Which is why it annoys me sometimes when people like review Marvel films and be like, oh, Like, I don't get what this is. This is a new thing, and I'm supposed to understand, like, well, it was established in another film. Like, it's your fault that you didn't watch that other one. You could just, all you have to do is be like, I didn't watch that other one, so I'm not gonna comment on it. Yeah. Anyway, I've strayed away from the point. I don't like people who don't do their research when making videos. That's basically the point. Could do a Supernatural retrospective, but only talk about season 7. That's an interesting season to pick, Chief. But you know what? I believe in you. Talk about 15 seasons, but only one season.
Compared to Jeremy Griggs, where he's not giving any reasoning for anything.
Micro dick and no eyebrows. Live with expert Jeremy. Why? What? Like, okay, again, it's making fun of. So we mentioned this earlier. This is the first time it's happened in the video, but it's something we, knew would happen. Is him making fun of people's looks? I don't get the point of it, because it's like the Fandom Menace makes fun of people's looks, and I really don't like that. I'm pretty sure he does take issue with the actual fandom. So why would he do that? Like, that's not something you should do. Just like, oh, no eyebrows. And it's also like micro dick is just like also like perpetuating stereotypes about masculinity and whatnot, which is just I don't really like. Just being like, oh, you have a small dick, so you're emasculated, I guess.
That is such a good point, actually. I'd even clock that. Fuck me. Yeah, imagine being the guy that's a major player in this fucking document going against bullying and harassment and going against these people that put harmful stereotypes on men, only to just do it yourself. I think, oh, look how cool I am. Look at how valid I'm being. It's like,
it's the kind of thing where I see a lot of people who are like, very much against these types of people doing. It's just like, oh, it's fine if I make fun of these people's looks and that they have micro dicks and shit like that. Just try to emasculate them because they think that's bad. So I'm hurting them, but not us. But it's just, I don't think it's like the same as but I don't think you should do it. It's just like you're perpetuating the thing you want to stop. If you continue to do it, then it's just, you're continuing the cycle. You're not justified because the other person is bad. Like, two wrongs don't make a right. Two wrongs don't make a right. Everyone knows that. It's like a very basic thing. It is very much against your point of view that like doing this is bad when you do it as well. It's just hypocritical. Like, he has justified it to Jab on Twitter, being like, no, but you see, these people are bad, so it's fine. I'm like, what? How is that? Like, just because you're doing it to bad people doesn't mean what you're doing is right. It's still bad, and you still think it's bad, so you treat people how you would want to be treated, right? Like, it's just like such simple principles that I don't, like, he doesn't get, that he feels like he's going on this fucking crusade to, like, save people from these different, fandoms, like Fandom Menace and whatnot, and it's just, but still doing the same thing they do. It's just very hypocritical. I don't like it. I really don't. Because you have, like, people like Mr. TARDIS, like, his responses to Bolstrack and Nerdrotic, they're very good, because he's just, like, going with facts, and he's not commenting about his looks or anything like that. He's just factual and objective, and be like, no, he's wrong, he's lying to his audience. And that, it's not, like, perpetuating things that he is against. Like, he still stands up for his principles while still criticizing these people without, like, going down to their level, basically. Just like, why should you go down to their level? That seems so silly. Because you're basically, like, showing people they're on the same level as the people you're criticizing, which is the exact opposite of what you want to do. You want to show these people as, like morally inferior because of the terrible things they've done, right?
It's just, yeah, it's bizarre to me. And also, like, if Jeremy sees that, he's not going to take it seriously. He's just going to laugh.
Yeah, it's also the kind of thing, because the only thing you're doing is like, oh, you say I have a micro dick, okay, like, he doesn't know, there's not, like, any point, like, oh, they'll have eyebrows, like, he doesn't care, he shows his face in every video, I think it's the kind of thing where he probably joins in on people making fun of his eyebrows or him wearing the cap all the time, because it's probably something that has become a meme, like, a lot of, you see a lot in chats, like, in chats of people who stream with their face cam, of people like making fun of someone's appearance, and the person joins in because it's like, it's better to join in than just let people like bully you. It also helps you accept your flaws, like perceived flaws. because like it's how I am. It makes me more unique. So it's the kind of thing where a lot of people do that. I'm pretty sure Jeremy does that. I'm not 100% sure because I don't watch his videos and I haven't in a long time.
I don't watch him, but I know for a fact he does it.
Yeah. Yes, like I'm
they all
sure
cater to
Az
each
is
other.
embraces when people make fun of him for being fat. Like I'm sure that's the thing. Or for being bald. Whatever. This is just silly.
Except it's woke, it's an agenda, and then I believe that it's what I've seen of Mahler and EFAP.
Oh,
they go through some
no.
effort.
God damn it. We were just talking about it, and then you go and make fun of Mahler's appearance. Really? This is what Mahler actually looks like. Oh my god, I can't believe Mahler looks like a person. Oh no.
And that's why I was so confused why he got offended that I was a bit like, this doesn't look good on your character. I was like, I think I made a totally fair assessment that judging people based on appearance is a pretty shitty move. I think we can all agree on that. Why are you doing it?
Yeah, it's just like, like why would you take detours to do this fucking thing to insult someone's appearance? Like, why does anyone care what Mahler looks like? Does him being fat make his opinions any less valid? Like, oh my god, I can't believe you take Mahler seriously. He's fat. Whatever, man.
Meme raised a good point. This is from years and years ago. So this.
Oh yeah, he hasn't shown his face I think since 2017 when he was last streaming with webcam on.
So this is definitely outdated.
Yeah, you could look completely different nowadays.
Yeah, you could be even fatter. You don't know.
Yeah.
No, okay, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Like, who cares, dude? It's like there's a reason why Mahler doesn't show his face anymore. It's because it doesn't matter. Like, his content doesn't benefit or lose anything from not having his face. He's even said, like, I wouldn't be against having webcams when we do like the reactions, but like I feel like we get a lot of personality across with our Discord icons, which I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's a fair assessment. I think that's fine.
Especially when you could do like squash and stretch stuff with the icons anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of that when we were watching Flash. It's the same thing as Muller does and the other editors do with the EFA thingies. He goes out of his way to pick a picture of him making a face. Yeah, that's also something that I don't like. It's like, oh, he's making a silly face, therefore silly. I don't know. It's just like, again, cherry picking. I don't like it. Just like, to tackle the arguments, the points. You're talking about objectivity. Why does it matter what Muller looks like? Jesus. Annoying. Really annoying.
And EFAP. They go through some effort to create some kind of framework for why they basically agree with Jeremy Griggs.
Yeah, what? They don't agree with Jeremy. Jab. Oh, good old Jabby boy. Remember Mando Season 2?
Let's just say during the Mando Season 2 finale, Sky, myself, Mauler, Frangy, Rags would obviously feel the same.
Yeah, Rags wasn't there, but we were there. Yeah.
We all just didn't understand why people were losing it over Mando Season 2 finale at seeing Luke. We were just like, this is so blatantly what's known as key jangling. But Jeremy Griggs loved it. Fair play to him. If you love it, you love it. But he kept saying, this is Luke Skywalker back. This is Star Wars back. And that.
He didn't just say that. He said, sorry, I'm going to get the name of the video he made, but I'm going to get it from one of our streams, because if you guys don't know, that was way back. I changed the name of one of the streams we were doing to make fun of Jeremy. Here we go. He said, for a moment, Star Wars stood still. Thank you. That was the name of the video. And then ECUM 31 is named, for a moment, Eternal stood still. Thank you. So yeah, that's what he said about the Season 2, Mando Season 2 finale.
And we obviously all were in agreement that Jeremy Griggs is very wrong. And this is without the fact that we got to look into the fact of what Jeremy covers, which is mostly identity politics as such, which they've all openly said is a fucking stupid thing they're not interested in.
Yeah.
So they obviously don't operate under the same framework.
Yeah.
So what basis is he even using to say that they agree with him anyway? Is it because he's been on EFAP? Because
Yeah, but it's been
like,
ages, right? Since it's been on last.
yeah, I just checked. The last stream he was on was in November 2019.
Oh, really? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's a while. That is a long time.
It's
The
like nearly
reason-
4 years.
The reason why they're saying they're aligned is because EFAP is, to them, regarded as part of the TFM, which means they all share the same view. And Jeremy Griggs is kind of, I'd say, the pioneer of the Fandom menace.
I'd
Like-
say nerdrotic, but yeah, I get it. Yeah, no, EFAP is not part of the Fandom menace. They're friendly with a few of them, but they're not part of it. And they disagree with them a lot, and they even make fun of the idea of calling everything woke quite a bit, as in Meadow's birthday stream for one. Actual Fandom's avatar just pisses me off for some reason. You know what? Me too. I don't get it. I think it's because he thinks he looks like super cool with it. I don't know. I think he thinks he looks cooler than he actually is. Anyway.
I think if I were to judge it, it's because it plays into the whole condescended smugness when he's so horribly wrong.
Oh yeah. I think it's the same with the purple one of being like the strong body and what's his face?
Michael Bay.
Michael
I think
Bay,
that's
yeah.
Michael Bay. I might.
I think it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hope it is because I will look like a right spastic, if I'm wrong. But I will say that guy generally has no reason to be in this video and adds nothing. And there's going to be a period where you're just going to be so lost
Yeah,
in
it is
why
Michael Bay.
he's going to say the stuff he will.
Mm-hmm.
I only seen one thing, and I didn't
Oh.
like his take.
Oh, we're actually going to come up to it. I didn't realize it was this soon. Okay.
All right.
Yes. I only seen one thing, and I didn't like his take on Luke, but I get his general takes, and I've for some reason I've run into his subreddit a lot, so I sort of, it's the same fan base, so it's like I guess you just did that lore dump on me, so I get it.
Yeah.
What? Oh, Lord. Oh, that wasn't really. Whatever. That kind of seemed like actual fans just spent like 20 minutes telling this perp person that Mahler has like huge history of the Fandom menace or something, and it's just like he didn't really. He just said, "Oh, they bend their opinions to agree with Jeremy Griggs somehow." It's like no, that isn't true, and he didn't like say anything beyond that. Maybe this was in
there's
the
no
other
evidence
video
that-
they referenced in the beginning of this one. Maybe it's in that one. I don't know.
Which
It's
would
hard
be
to-
baffling when you're making the point in this
Video,
video.
yeah, you'd think it'd be worth bringing up again, yeah.
Really cover him because his stuff is so long. And like I went early on in my channel, I did a video, something about, but it was a response to someone who had responded to about a Mahler video, not responded, but just criticized it. And anytime somebody criticizes a Mahler video or criticizes him on Twitter, there's a bit of a harassment that's pretty much guaranteed to happen.
Yeah, when you go after a creator that a lot of people like, the people that like the creator will defend him. And among the people that like that creator, there are going to be assholes, because that is how the internet works. Like, do you think there
And-
aren't like terrible fans of Madvocate? He has over 100,000 subs. I'm sure there are people who are pretty cringe from that follow him because he has just a large following. That's just how it is.
And it's worth noting Mauler does on record say time and time again.
Not to harass
he's
people, yeah.
Yeah.
He said
So-
many times, yeah.
Know that bringing this up as a slight against Mauler is pretty pointless because they're going against this word anyway.
Yeah, they're doing something that Mahler has said exactly not to do. So I find that really strange. All right. Here's a question, Jab. Would you like to hear a chap's opinion on this?
What is the question?
Would you like to hear a chap's opinion on the video we're watching? That is the question. I can promise you that he's quite jolly. That is me saying I'm adding Jolly Chap to the call.
Yeah. Jolly Chaps. I was like, a chap. I'm like, who the fuck is a chap? Like,
Chap. He's a
I
very
was like,
jolly
wait.
one, Jab.
I was like, there's
Like
only
him,
one
you
that I could possibly fathom.
Even I could
Dummy.
even I could guess who it was.
Yeah.
God's sake.
My community's perfect. I'm sure it is, Madvika. You love how they keep asking you about Flash Season 4, don't you? Yeah.
I'm
And
sure
say
you
that
love.
you've
I'm
owed
sure you love
Christmas.
Lamar. I'm sure Lamar appreciates you saying your
Man.
You ruined my Christmas. Oh, I'm sorry.
Flashmas. He stole Flashmas' job.
I
No.
only wanted Flash
Jolly
Season
Chap
4.
too busy
What
having
did
a
you say to
Jolly
me?
Fab. Yeah, he has to join and then he just didn't join the call. That's silly. It would have been very funny if he actually joined after I made the chap joke, but I guess he's gonna be late. Boo. Anyway. We only watch it for the Flash Madvika. Yeah, the only content Madvika made. Anyway.
My game just made me shit myself. I thought I was getting under attack by a giant beast and it was a small bird.
Well done, Jap. Were you playing Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
Alright.
It was a shadow. I'm hunting lizards. I will not be able to pronounce it right now. The lizards.
Their fans do not like it, and they will show up in your replies or your comment section, basically throwing down the gauntlet for you to justify. And then.
Well, I mean, yeah, if your opinion isn't justified, there are going to be people like, can you elaborate? I mean, I have had people do that when I said Jill Longbone was stupid recently on Twitter, and all I did was elaborate. Like, oh, can you elaborate? I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. Like, even if these people still think I'm stupid after I've elaborated, at least I've done it. I think it's fair to ask what the issue is with what that I'm taking with something Jill Longbone said. I don't think that's, like, a problem. I don't know, man.
In my experience in discussing with fans of predominantly EFAT, it's always 9 times out of 10 it has been generally cordial. We may not agree, and we may think we make stupid points either side, but it's never been harassment. It's never been insults, really. There's always going to be those that do it, but for the most part, from my experience, it's been genuine discussions. For Southport, it's very different. I think he gets the worst of the fandom targeting him because they're fucking obsessed for some reason.
Yeah.
So it does vary. I don't know.
Maybe people are gonna be more gonna be meaner to someone like Quentin Reviews because of the way he's attacked Mahler over the years. Then they're gonna be someone like Filmento who just makes bafflingly bad videos, but who's actually been a very good sport about being covered. He even said, people have been covering my videos, and I think that's pretty neat.
It's like Tonald.
Yeah, Tonald.
He's kind of become very close.
Yeah,
with
he
them.
became a cult hero. Yeah, because he was really to hero criticism, and he went on EFAP. Which one was it? Was 100?
Yeah, and
and they had a conversation with him. Yeah,
and I'm not saying that means you have to conform to certain ways. Like I think Southpaw's, oh shit, I'm being attacked. I think Southpaw, for example, defending himself, fine.
Yeah, I just think like the response you're gonna have from an audience, I think it's not representative of the person whose audience that is. Especially when Mahler has said not to harass people, so it's just like it's kind of out of his hands. If you get a large fan base, there are going to be people who do that, so he can't control people.
What's representative of the person is what they do when they see it occur. So
yeah,
another good example is Jay. There was these people accusing Jay of doing XYZ, or their fans doing XYZ, and Jay jumped into a listen thing with them.
Twitter space.
I wanted to hear all the references.
Yeah.
And Jay does call it out when it happens with our own fans. Editron even got called out at one point for not helping the discussion. Editron being Callum, it happens.
Yeah.
So
Another thing they'll do is if you even mention how long his videos are, they'll say "long man bad."
What's happening? I'm not getting any audio.
Then reload the page.
I will reload.
Okay, let me see.
Okay, I am.
All right.
It's now put it right back to the beginning for me.
When I press play, it'll be fine. Yeah.
And another thing they'll do is if you even mention how long
Why
his
am I still
videos
not
are,
getting it? There's no audio for this bit. I just remembered.
No, there is. I'm listening to it.
Oh, well, for some
Jeb,
reason it's not playing
aren't
for
you
me.
deaf in one ear?
Yeah, the audio's not playing for me. I don't know why.
But it's playing for me. I don't get it. Is the audio on the watch you got it turned off for you?
No, it's on. I could see it. Full
Huh.
blast.
All right. Hold on. Hey, Jolly, how you doing?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Other than this video not being good, I'm pretty all right.
What have I missed so far? What have I missed so far?
He's shown a picture of Mahler and be like, this is actually what he looks like. And he said that Jeremy Griggs has a small penis, so very substantive stuff so far.
Oh, good. I'm glad he's being so thorough and precise.
I know, right? His editing is also leaving a bit to be desired. But just real quick, there's a super chat from Introverted Robot saying, here's my life savings in case actual Fandom's voice kills me. So thank you. I appreciate your life savings. To support ECUM.
Oh, and he also made the point that how is something objective if someone disagrees with it?
Oh yeah, that was the first point. It's like, how can something be objective if I disagree with it? Which is just baffling.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the example I use is the simple, like, a flat Earth. People believe the Earth is flat, and that is wrong. And that just because someone disagrees that the Earth is round, it doesn't mean that it makes it any less of a fact, any less objective. So yeah.
Yeah, there's this really common misconception that like objective means like tautologous, and in a kind of logical sense of like true in every universe, which is just not what objective means. Like tautologous things are objective, but like they're like the most extreme example of objective. They're the things that are objectively true in every universe. But yeah, like plenty of things are just objectively true in one possible world. Like, for example, we do not live on a flat Earth. That is an objective fact.
Yeah.
Oh, what's another point? Oh, Mauler's under the same framework in terms of how he covers things as Jeremy Griggs.
Oh yeah, he said that Mahler kind of like bends to agree with Jeremy, and I found that baffling, especially because he hasn't had Jeremy on since 2019, as Zod found, and they disagree with a lot of what he says, and we even mentioned Mendo season 2 that Jeremy loved the finale. So yeah, that's basically all we had so far in these 4 minutes.
No, let's see. Let's crack on and see where it goes.
Yeah, Jeb, if there's still no audio, just let me know and I'll summarize what he says here.
It's probably like the 3-minute Luke tangent. I think we're coming up to that.
And another thing they'll do
Is the
is
audio
if
playing
you
for you,
even
Joe?
mention
No.
how long his videos
We'll give it,
are,
like-
they'll
No.
say long.
Yeah, it's playing for us. It's playing for us, right? Like, is everyone else hearing the audio? Because I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can hear it.
No, I'm not hearing or seeing anything on the watch together.
Really?
I'm seeing stuff, but I'm not hearing stuff.
What? Okay, hold on. I'm gonna rewind more because you were listening to it before, Jeb. So surely, okay.
Pretty much guaranteed to happen.
Yeah, some reason I can't hear 350 onwards, and I was hearing that earlier.
What is happening?
The fuck?
Did I guess check your audio mixer or something to see if there's something wrong. Maybe you turned off the audio for your browser. Maybe.
No, it's all on. It's all functioning. I'm having a look.
What
I'm
the
gonna
hell?
close the watch together completely, and
Yeah,
then rejoin.
I am
Yeah,
confused.
Same.
There we go. I'm back in. I can hear audio just there. So
All right.
The fans do
Can
not
you hear
I
it?
can hear audio.
Okay, you can hear it then. All right, Jolly. Let's see if you can
Oh,
hear
and
it.
they will show up in your
I can definitely see. I don't know if I can hear you. Go ahead, play.
replies or your comment section. Basically,
not hear?
throwing down the gauntlet for you to justify.
I can hear like a
and
muffled sound. Like I don't know. Oh yeah, no, there we go. I've got it.
I was gonna say maybe your watch together is probably a bit low. Jab, can you hear it now?
Yeah, I can hear now.
All right.
And then another thing they'll do is if you even mention how long his videos are, they'll say long man bad.
I mean, yeah, just not if you just mention, if you say it isn't like if it's inherently bad of it being long, because
Is if you
hold on.
even mention how long his videos are, they'll
Like this tweet, the only reason he makes his reviews so long is that so his fans can just say long man bad in response to any criticism of it. Oh, it's his own tweet. Oh my god, okay, I thought it was someone else's. But this is silly because people will criticize when people just say, oh, this video is long, so I'm not gonna watch it. Oh, video should be X amount of length at most. It's like there's no set length to that a video should be, right? I find it very silly that like people take issue with the length of his videos. Like that's like the one thing that I
Well,
never
yeah.
understand. Like you can take issue
It's
with the
just gonna
length
come
if it's
down
like
to,
you
like,
think, oh, it's longer than you need it to be. You watch the video like, oh, he repeats himself a lot or something like that. If you just say it's long, therefore it's bad, then yeah, people are gonna say long man bad because you're not actually having an argument. You're not actually using an argument to criticize his videos. They're just stating something that isn't true.
Yeah, and there's part of the common criticism here is like you have people who are going like, oh, nothing, there should be no summary that takes longer than, and they give like an arbitrary limit, right? Like an
Yeah.
hour or 2 hours.
Mhm.
I'm like, no, it just depends, right? Like I can't summarize all of Shakespeare's works and all of the nuance in an hour.
Yeah.
That would not be a fair review of Shakespeare. Some things just take more time to summarize because they are more dense.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. You don't have to watch it.
Yeah, if you think it's too long for you to watch, just don't. And obviously, like videos that are long like this, I wonder if people like still have this weird idea that you need to like sit down and watch it all at once. You can take like your time. You can take a few days to watch like a 5-hour video. I know you don't have like 5 hours free on your day. You can watch like 30 minutes one day, and then next day you watch like 15. You can pause the video and get back to it later the next day. It's just weird to be like, oh, it makes these videos for people who have no life, as if like people don't like watch these when they're while they're at work or something, like listening to a podcast basically, just so to help them get through their day or something. It just seems really strange as a criticism.
I really
like
like the idea that some people feel like they're being like held hostage, like they start playing the video and they're like, oh, this would be nice. Oh no, it's 5 hours. I can't leave. What
yeah,
can I do?
like you've already clicked on it. You're like, oh no, it's 5 hours. I needed to take care of my baby, but now I'm stuck here watching this video for 5 hours straight.
like your baby's crying in the next room. You're like, I'm sorry, I have to finish this part.
People basically act like that bit in Clockwork Orange where like he just straps to a chair
Yeah.
and his eyes are open.
That's how every Mauler viewer is. It's just the guy from Clockwork Orange. Forgot his name. Yeah, silly.
Alex, his name's Alex.
Alex, yes.
They'll say long man bad. long man bad. And they think that that's like some kind of got you for like they don't have to address anything else that you said.
I mean, if you said something else, I'm sure they will, but I mean, they might not, but usually people like to address arguments. This EFAP fan base is, I'm not gonna say all of them are like that, but I do think that most of them are willing to engage in like actual like debates and arguments like that. And I remember when there were people who were like just like, oh, long man bad. And I was like, why? I was just asking, why do you think a video being long is bad? And people being like, oh, you're a virgin or something, and replying to me like, okay, so you're not gonna engage in this conversation. You're just gonna have criticisms of something that's so substanceless that it's basically like you're basically saying nothing. And that happens very often on Twitter. Like you see people taking the screenshot of Jenny Nicholson's video of Joker being like 20 minutes long, and then right under it there's the 12-hour long EFAP stream, and be like, I still can't believe this. That was like last year or two. There were people that posted that like every month and got like thousands of likes, and I'm just like, you're not saying anything. Sometimes it takes that long to talk about a 20-minute video, and even then, that stream, it was like 5 hours, I think, about Jenny. They watched an Angry Joe video. They had jab memes for like half of the stream. It's not this. It wasn't just about that video. It's always very disingenuous.
Because you mentioned how long his videos are, so long
That's
man
it.
bad.
It's over.
And which is the exact. I mean, it's literally the same meme as like the Trump thing, the orange man bad.
Well, yeah. Okay, this is
what
such
does
a
that have to do with
silly.
Trump?
Yeah, this is such a silly criticism. Just because there's the man bad thing, I'm sure they say long man bad, because it is similar to orange man bad. Just because it's something that a lot of people used to say at the time. It doesn't really relate in any way to the Trump thing. The Trump thing was like anything Trump did was viewed as bad because he was Trump, even if it wasn't something bad. And that's why people are like, oh, orange man bad. There were a lot of like SNL skits just being like, oh, Trump bad, and there wasn't like much substance to it. I guess you can say that's kind of similar to people who say that Balder's videos are long, and then you reply with long man bad because you're not actually addressing any like criticisms of Mauler's content. I guess it's just like it's such a stretch. I don't know if he's trying to like equate this to like, oh, you see, Mauler's fan base is like right wing because Orange Man bad. If not, then I don't see the point in bringing this up at all, because it's just. I guess it sounds somewhat similar.
I'm just not interested at all. When people make an appeal to politics, whatever side it is, right? Where they're like, "Oh, you're just playing a XYZ bad card, or you're just an anti-this or a pro-this or whatever." Like, I'm just not interested. All I care about is, are your arguments good? Are they consistent?
Yeah.
If you're on the left or the right, I don't care. If you're an idiot, I'm going to call you out. And like, it doesn't really matter where you stand politically.
Yeah, and it's kind of the... I don't know, man. This is just so weird. The Orange Man Bad thing came out of nowhere. Jabber's still awake.
I am still awake.
Are you close to falling asleep, though?
No, I'm playing Zelda. I'm just like... this is what I meant by this video being very rapid and not really delving into objectivity, because we haven't really gone into the terminology, how it's misused yet, with examples. It's just...
Yeah, the title is not representative of the video at all so far. It seems like he just got into a call, like a Discord call with his friend. He was just saying shit.
I thought
and they kind of said, "Oh, it's about Mueller, so let's turn it into a video." It doesn't seem like he actually had a plan for what the video is. Just like having a casual conversation with his friend is what it seems like. One that he didn't fact check a lot of stuff, though.
I thought this was like a live stream, you know, where people do VODs and they just edit it down. I thought it was one of these, but I don't think it is. I still have no idea because it's that messy.
Yeah, I don't. It does have that feeling of being a live stream.
I hope it is, because if this is what he does when he's actually trying, then I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's reductive, it's a thought-terminating cliche. It doesn't tell you anything, and it's literally just sounds like a dude bro thinking he's being clever.
I mean, that's the same thing you could say about just saying that Mueller's videos are big, therefore they're bad. Which is what he did earlier. He said, "Oh, who the fuck has the time to watch Mueller's videos?" Like, I do. So, like, you know, it just seems like, again, very substanceless. Just being like, "Oh, that's what they do when they say long man bad." When your argument is simply that long video equals bad, then yeah, people are gonna make fun of you because that's an inherently silly argument. It's not a point. Also, what the fuck is this screenshot, man? You couldn't get the fucking tab on the top right like off when you took that screenshot? Jesus.
Yeah, it's very amateurish.
Yeah, it's also like the quality is like very low, but whatever.
Oh my god, his intro video on his page,
video.
like his trailer, is 2 hours and 42 minutes.
Yeah.
Damn. That's an intro.
Look, that's almost a 6-hour video on Multiverse of Madness.
He put in the work. Yeah.
He did.
I don't know that I'd call it work.
What?
Okay.
You wouldn't call it work? What? It's literally his job. He lives off of YouTube, and like, he did put a lot of work into every video he's made. Whether you think they're good or not, he did put a lot of work. Like, in terms of editing, recording, and writing. As someone who makes videos, I've been making an hour-long video, Ant-Man and the Wasp. An hour-long Ant-Man and the Wasp video, and that thing is taking me ages to do. It is a lot of work.
This was one of the moments where, in my thread, I highlighted this is where I was questioning his character. I didn't know if it's a joke or not. I made that clear. Because I'm like, it's one thing to not be a YouTuber and then meme work, because you because you
don't know how much work actually goes into it. Yeah.
But he is a creator. He's bringing down other creators' work by diminishing it as, "Oh, you're not working at all, really, are you?" It's one thing to say something's maybe low production value and such. It's another thing to say they didn't put the effort in.
Yeah, this is definitely work.
Well, I mean, like, it's a charge you can make of like very select YouTubers or Twitch streamers, like Hassan, right, when he was doing a lot of content. But you have to be very careful with this, right? Because whether or not you think Mauler's videos are good or not, like, there is a lot of editing. Like, he jumps every 6 seconds is a different clip, and there's music and the voice overlay, and like,
that takes a lot of work. Very specific about every clip matching what he says and complementing his point in some way. It's like there is a lot of thought and work put into it. I don't know, man. It's not like a Critical Drinker video where he just like talks for like 10 minutes and he puts on like a trailer footage and he calls it a day. And even then I would call it work, but you know, it's lazy. Like to say the amount of effort that goes into Mueller videos, I think it's kind of baffling to say this isn't work. It just...
I mean, just as a comparison, though, like, any one of those Mueller videos is significantly more work than the video we're currently watching.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, for one, Mueller gets high quality clips. This is just 240p footage of him recording his screen.
I'd call it more like, I guess persistence of sitting in one place and talking.
What?
But I don't know.
What?
I mentioned how long it is. Long man bad. Long man bad.
No, when you were saying, look at how long this is, and you didn't add anything to it. But you didn't say it was bad. The other person in the call even said, he puts in the work. So I was like, you know what? At least you recognize that even though you don't like his content, he puts a lot of work into it. You were the one who was like, I don't think it's work. So that's what we're addressing. We never, just because you mentioned the length, that isn't the issue. We took issue when you mentioned the length as a negative thing when you said, who has the time to watch this? Which is silly. It's just,
Well, I'm just waiting to hear an actual argument, right? Because you said we're addressing something, and I'm like, what are we addressing? That so far, it's just he's whined about how long the videos are. He's claimed without any supporting evidence that they required no work.
Yeah.
And now he's claiming preemptively a defense because he's gone like, oh, the only criticism anyone will have to me about this point is to say that I'm saying long man bad. So I'm like, no, I'm saying that you have nothing to say.
Yeah, he's not really said anything in this part. He's just saying like, oh, the EFAP audience, they say long man bad when people mention the length because they have nothing else to say about the point that's being made. And you've not made any point, so what do you want to be addressed? It's like this weird cycle, man.
You guys be gentle with her. I'll be right back.
Do it.
Yeah.
What?
What is happening?
Yeah,
Have I had a stroke?
yeah.
What's happening?
This is the point where it kind of derails into something I was like, what am I watching at this point?
I didn't know Steve Jobs made a cameo.
So you guys all know this whole Luke controversy of how he was a character assassinate, disrespected the character, blah 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 blah. Now I come from the school that when I saw the Force Awakens trailer and they weren't showing Luke, and more and more it seemed like what's going on with Luke, I actually assumed that Luke was going to be the big villain of
What? Luke is going to be the villain? You know what? Sure.
Well,
that's
okay.
That's an interesting theory.
Sure. If that's what you want to, I mean, like that's a fine assumption. I don't know what it has to do with objectivity.
Yeah, I'm gonna wild. Okay.
This goes on for 3 minutes, this Luke theory,
awesome.
and I'm
This very much relates to the rest of the video, yeah. I'm so baffled. What the fuck is happening, man?
this new series.
I don't know.
And I thought that was fantastic, honestly.
All
I was like going off like, oh my god, this makes perfect sense.
Does
you
it?
know, and there's like theories out there. There's like theories that it would make sense because this dude, if we look at the original trilogy, which we all love, if you look at the original trilogy, that guy's Jedi training was straight up garbage.
Okay. I mean, I'm confused. Yeah, because isn't the point that he breaks out of the Jedi ways in Return of the Jedi and Empire by going after Han and Leia, and that kind of like is what makes him better than Obi-Wan and Yoda because they failed previously because they're so stuck in the Jedi ways?
Guys, why are we giving this mad theory any credence?
I don't know, man. I like to address arguments where they're made. There are a lot of times where ECUM where like people are like, why are you even addressing this? You know, it's inherently silly, but I like just thinking about these things, and I don't get it. I'm confused. That's my reaction to this.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Compared to what a Jedi should have done. Okay, like.
Well, yeah, what the Jedi should have done is what they did to Anakin, and that kind of fucked him up a lot. It's kind of a point that the prequels make about his training and the Jedi ways failing him. So it's good that Luke kind of broke out of the Jedi ways, and his Jedi training was bad.
Well, until Mandalorian happened and said that actually he was all in favor of it. But
We do not listen to Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. Okay, they're just not worth listening to.
Wasn't little Anakin too old as is, to be training as a Jedi? And now we have Yoda, like not clearly, you know, he's getting older. He's not all there, and now he's training like Luke, and is like it's very clear that Luke.
Dude, make an argument. Stop making noises. Jesus Christ. Oh, and now we have Yoda be like, oh, thank you. That's a point, I guess you've made. Jesus, man. I know this is like off the cuff, but like, man, come on.
Did not have the best training. Like he left halfway. They said it, And then in Return of the Jedi, he returns, Yoda's already dying. He's like, oh, you're good, don't worry. Dude, if Anakin went bad,
Your mother.
dude, this should have gone like nuclear.
No, this is like the opposite of what happened to Anakin. because Anakin was told not to let attachments like guide him or shit like that. Like they were kind of not letting him have any attachments to anyone. Whereas Luke, he was like, no, fuck you, I am gonna have attachments. I am gonna save Han and Leia. I care about them, and that's how he broke out of that. Like that's like a clear point that they make, that like Yoda and Obi-Wan didn't want that. It's not because his training is bad. It's because he disagrees with their core ideals about attachment.
Compared to what Anakin went through, and we could have had the next Darth Vader is actually Luke Skywalker. Ryan, who's the guy? What's the name of the director of Last Jedi? Ryan Johnson, I think.
Editing. What is that?
Whatever. That guy, he didn't go all the way. So it's like the fact that he's even questioning it is like, it makes sense. Yeah, and Dane brought this up. Because, hey, in Return of the Jedi, he has like the hood. He's using his powers like slick. Like he's very slick as a Jedi.
What is happening?
He put it all together. I was like, that dude was using dark side shit, wasn't he? He had to have been. He was too slick. The way he...
Oh my god, what are you saying? Did you not watch Return of the Jedi? Did you miss the point? That he was tempted by the dark side, and then by the end he was like, no, I'm not gonna give in to it. Like, yeah, there were moments where he was dark, but he didn't allow himself to fall down that path, and he said, I'm a Jedi like my father before me.
You know what this feels like? This really feels like when you're in college and you're at a party and you wander into a room and there's just some guy there who's spent the last hour getting high, rambling about something.
I was gonna say, it feels like...
just come in like...
It feels like, it feels exactly like that. Like a man has gotten high and just rambling about shit that does not like make any sense, but he thinks he's like found the secrets of the universe.
Like genuinely, like I swear, I've been at parties like this where I've walked into exactly this kind of guy and saying something like, "Oh man, I don't know if you know, but the birds, they're not real. It's a conspiracy. Ronald Reagan put them up in the '80s." And I'm like,
yeah.
What am I listening to?
Yeah, it kind of feels like that. He does not sound sober. Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking forward to see how this links back to objectivity. That'll be a wild ride.
Look, we have 6 minutes left of this video. Jesus Christ, we're over halfway through, but I'm sure we'll get to it, Charlie. I'm sure we will. Jesus.
You know.
Oh god.
About the whole drunk thing, just kind of get reference. You know the discussion in Good Omens episode 1 where he goes, my point is dolphins. That's more. That's a more cohesive.
Yes. Yes.
He was working the way he set everything up. That was Dane brought that up.
I mean, hey, you're the one that got me thinking about it. Don't give me all the credit, because like,
what? Oh my god, what is happening? What is happening? Have I had a stroke? Have I had a stroke? What is going on?
Hang on. Are we gonna milk Dane? Is that happening?
I think it is. I'm not sure, man. I'm just baffled. What? Dude, this is like, this is more incoherent than that fucking Wisecrack video, man. This is just, what?
Just ironically, this is the perfect place for Mauler to edit in his, like, what the fuck clip.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, based on context in the original trilogy, I think that Luke got closer to the dark side than we probably assumed.
No, I think we knew how close he was. He was very close to giving it. That was the point of that scene where he fights Vader. Did you? Whatever. I don't care. Who cares? I'm so tired. Why is he milking? Why are you showing the milking scene? I don't care.
I want to see Luke milked.
Why are you still? He was milked. You were right, Charlie. They did milk Dane. Ah.
Dane was like, it's always been my life ambition to be milked by Luke Skywalker, and then for him to drink it on camera. That's takes off the bucket list now. People confuse me.
I just don't know what this has to do in any way with objectivity. How did we get here? I don't know.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, there's the obvious moment where he's,
like, we just move on from that clip as if like, oh yeah, no, this happened. No, let's get back to like the actual conversation we're having.
Close to killing him, and he's impulsive at a couple of points and so on, but I think that he was probably dipping into that dark side magic a little bit more.
You think? It's well done. You kind of watched the film. I don't think you fully watched it because you wouldn't just think if you watched it. Whatever.
Shouldn't call it magic. I know better, but a little bit more than is apparent. So yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson, I think he had a good take.
What the
for
fuck are these
character.
zooms?
In my opinion, he didn't go all the way. They point
We're still in the Luke. I don't care. Oh my god. It's been like 3 minutes already. I don't care about Luke.
at Luke. and say,
Given how much of this video is dedicated to the Luke theory rather than objectivity, is there an argument to be made that you could get this video under like false advertising standards?
Yeah, you can have. I think you can report videos for having misleading titles. So I'm not saying you should do it. I'm just saying that is a thing you can do.
Don't actually. Yeah,
don't do it. I
viewers,
just
but I'm
think it's
saying
funny that you can, and those would probably fall under.
Yeah, please don't report this. It's bad
Yeah.
enough he thinks I hate my mother.
Oh,
Look,
Jesus.
Jab, you do hate your mom because you were on Twitter for like 30 minutes before you went to see her. So.
I was
Bad
on a
person.
bus, and that was very evil of me.
Yeah, you can't open your
That was
phone on the bus.
unacceptable. Only Nazis take buses.
Amen.
That's how I understand it.
Amen.
I thought they were trades, but I've been duped.
I'm just saying, you've been on a bus and I've been here. That's a deep freaking ECUM cut right there.
Oh shit! Yeah, being afraid of buses. Yeah, man, that's a. Ooh, yeah. People will not know this. That's a classic Econ moment.
they point at Luke and say that this is why it's bad writing because of the
Yeah.
original trilogy. But it's technically
Yeah.
not even true.
What?
Like it's just a different take. It's just
No, that's not. You don't understand the. Why do people don't understand the issue people take with TLJ, man? It's not that hard to understand. He almost kills Kylo. He turns on his He turns on his fucking lightsaber. It's better than the fact that he didn't strike him. Even though Kylo's memory of it is that he did. It's better that he didn't, but it's still like he wouldn't do that. The entire point of Return of the Jedi is seeing the good in Darth Vader, someone who has gone so far off the deep end and gone that become very bad, but he still didn't strike him, and he still saw the good in him. And he doesn't allow that just because he saw Kylo having like a bad dream. It's kind of baffling.
I mean, this is a fundamental misunderstanding, right? Just on not just on his part, on everyone who argues this, right? Because they're basically going, "Oh, it's just a different take." And I'm like, "That's not the issue. The different take is fine. The issue is there is no through line from point A to point B.
Yeah, it's
you
the kind
can't
of thing
just
where
drop
like
point B out of nowhere.
Yeah, you can have Luke be at that point in TLJ if you have justification for it, but they don't have that in the film. There's a lot of like, it's because they only have that in flashbacks. If they have more scenes in that time, you could have probably done it better. I still think it's better not to have done it at all because you're basically like 180 Luke's character. Like in the second film of a new trilogy, it kind of seems like if you wanted to do that, you probably needed to have set it up, in The Force Awakens. But you could still add context to why it makes sense, but they don't. Because as far as you know, Kylo had a bad dream. Luke was like, "Oh no, I gotta kill him," and he's like, "No, why would I?" And then Kylo turns evil, and he exiles himself because he was retarded. So it's that's the kind of thing.
it's like something different. Yeah, different perspective. That's all it is. It's not bad writing.
Nope, it's not bad writing. It's once again, it's like you said, it bridges all together, and I'm glad that you are the co-host of this because I would probably have missed all of the interconnectedness of this.
The interconnectedness, like what he said, Yoda was all like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that was a very good point. That was very good at pointing out the interconnectedness of the sequel trilogy with the original trilogy. Fucking Christ.
Episode. It's all themed. It's all connected, man.
all
Alex
there,
Jones. Here's the thing.
Gotta be fucking.
Oh my god, why are you putting a clip from the thing? That's not funny. You already made the joke with the name of the film. You don't need a clip. This seems like full fat, man. Like full fat videos. He does that all the time of adding random useless clips that have nothing to do with the video. Ugh.
Kidding.
It literally is all part of the same anti-fan organism.
Yeah,
It's about either rejecting something because it's against your what you believe or against tradition, basically.
I find it very weird to call Mahler again like a traditionalist or something. Like he talks about changing status quo and things a lot in media and how that can lead to very good storytelling. I mean, I find it strange. I don't know. He liked Prey a lot for one. Like, it's all just, and that was a big change in the Predator films. I feel, even though it has like the same.
Well, again, I just want him to define his terms right in more, in a more fleshed out way than he's currently doing, because he's basically just gone like, oh, anti-fandom is just like when you're quite traditional in your film takes and you don't like non-traditional stuff. And I'm like, okay, that can be bad. It can also be good. It really depends on what someone is trying to change and why they're trying to change it. You need more argument than this.
Yeah, what you need is a good justification for why the change of the established status quo works. And I don't think Mahler takes an issue with something changing if it has good justification. I mean, I would say Civil War is a big change of the status quo, and he likes that film a lot. I'm pretty sure he thinks it's one of the best of the MCU still. Like that film is not very traditionalist, I would say.
And then you got Everything Everywhere All at Once, which turns
that's a very
multiverse concept on its head.
Yeah, which you
that's a very non-traditional film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that film.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, God of War Ragnarok as well. Like, there's a lot of things about changing status quo that, yeah, it's just like if they find the context to work well within the story they're seeing, they're not gonna have a problem with it being against the tradition, Obviously, sometimes they get things wrong, and I disagree with their takes, but that's not really what we're talking about, is whether Waller is able to see that, and I think he is. It's kind of why I find it weird to put EFAP on the same level as the Fandom Menace, which I think I could agree way more if saying the Fandom Menace does the thing of being like, it's against tradition, because they love to do the thing of like, oh, the old characters being, beaten down so the new ones can be built up, kind of thing like that, where it's just like, that's not, you're like imagining this just because you think the new thing is bad because it's new and it's woke and whatever. And it's like reflecting, current day, which is a lot of the thing that you see, like, as especially being like, oh my god, how did they have a female doctor? That's awful, because tradition of the doctor was always a man. Like, that's actually a thing that a lot of the Fandom Menace does, is talk about Doctor Who and how the doctor is supposed to be a man because he's always been a man. And I remembered a lot of that when Jodie was cast. I was like, why is that like actually a thing? Like, why do you think that? Like, even when I used to watch those people, I never understood that argument, because like there's nothing that inherently means the doctor should be a man, So that is the thing that these people do. I don't think that's the thing that like Mahler and EFAP does. So it's just, I think it's kind of trying to group Mahler in with people that are much worse than him, just because like they're friends, but that doesn't mean that he agrees with them.
There's the thing here of like, there's plenty about their connection to the Fandom Menace that I will criticize on a moral level for EFAP. But when we're just talking about how they analyze medium, it is definitely not a fair criticism to point at EFAP and be like, oh, they're just anti-woke. Like, that's just not true at all.
Yeah. It's very reductive because it clearly doesn't understand how they actually view media.
The tradition of mostly white people, and men in movies or shows or whatever, that's being challenged.
Yeah, see, that's just not EFAP, man. That is the Fandom Menace. That is not EFAP. I'm sorry, but I find it very weird that you think EFAP feels like that. I mean, I don't know, man. Whatever, I don't care. These aren't even talking about objectivity at this point. I don't even know. It's such a baffling video.
And which is a good thing, but certain people don't like it. But it's also tied in with this idea that it's objective. You can look at how the Fandom Menace talks about stuff.
No, and don't talk about the Fandom Menace. They don't talk about shit as if they're objective. Nerdrotic has even said he doesn't think his takes are objective. Jeremy Griggs has said, I remember in a video he's saying, I don't think it's objective. I think it's my subjective opinion that like The Force Awakens is good. I think that was the video I watched. I've been like, you know what? I actually like The Force Awakens. And then I stopped liking it. And, that's just my opinion. And you're fine to have yours. You can like The Force Awakens. Like, I remember him saying something like that. Like, these people, they're not on the same level as Mahler being like, it's subjective. And even then, Mahler himself and EFAP, they strayed away very far from saying the word objectivity recently. The last, like, tens of streams, like, I don't know how long.
Well, I think it's just because the word has become somewhat distracting. And like, it's not that they don't believe in the principles anymore, right? It's just that when you say the word objective in a film review now, people go nuts and don't listen to your arguments.
It's the same as saying like Mary Sue or woke or shit like that, where it's just like you're kind of losing, like you're using buzzwords. Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, if you think like because he's saying, oh, and they use objectivity to make their takes more valid. So if they don't mention objectivity anymore, then that's not really the case, is it? They're just making the case for their point of view, and whether you want to say that's objectively correct or not, then that's like irrelevant to what like EFAP is actually doing, because they're not bringing up it being objective anymore. They're just talking about it like as a more matter of factly than rather than stating as like an objective fact. I just think this is like not representative of current EFAP. Maybe it is. A few years ago I would agree, not the anti-woke part, but I would agree with the objective of being like, oh, my take is objective, and then saying that all the time. They don't do that anymore, so I think it's just outdated. I don't know, how old is this video, Jeb, do you know?
I think it's like half a year old.
Let me see.
Let me
Then
check.
yeah, I wouldn't. I'm checking it. It is 3 months old, so not even that. Did it come out this year?
Well, again,
Or it came out in November, end of November. Or...
whether or not it applies to old EFAP or new EFAP, or just like when we're talking about this video, I'll happily criticize, and in fact I'm at some point going to try and put together a video on this. I'll happily criticize EFAP for not defining the word objective nearly coherently enough.
Oh yeah.
And that vagueness is what leads into a lot of these discussions where people just like toss accusations of bad faith around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I'm just, again, like, ultimately, if you're going to bring up the word objective or subjective, whatever, whether you're this guy, Fandom, EFAP, whoever, I just want you to define your terms.
Mm-hmm.
Just define the term first. Otherwise, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it was like, if you are talking about old EFAP as a way to make a point about the word objectivity and how they didn't used to like use the word correctly and whatnot, that's good. Those are examples, tangible examples that you can use about like bad argumentation used with the word objective. But that's not what he's doing. He's criticizing EFAP just because they use the word objective as if it's like a moral failing. And they don't even anymore. So it's like especially because the name of the video has nothing to do with that. That's what annoys me the most, I think.
Think that they're being objective. I'll get comments sometimes, even some of my own audience, not to throw you in with the Fandom Menace, whenever we covered the She-Hulk twerking thing, and I had a couple of comments like, okay, but you have to admit it was pretty cringe. And I was like, no, I don't. Why do I have to admit that? Because I don't agree with it.
I guess because most people agree that it's cringe, and they find it weird when people find the twerking scene good. But I mean, if you don't if you don't find it cringe, that's fine. But they're not saying that it's objective. It's kind of like it's a very different way to just say, oh, you gotta agree that it's cringe. Like cringe isn't something objective. It's just like it's common that people who watch She-Hulk found the twerking scene cringe. So you're like, they find it weird when someone's like, wait, you didn't? So they're wanting you to admit it.
Again, it's about like just being careful with the sentences, right? So like if you say to him, you personally have to find this cringe, that's obviously nonsensical. But if someone says to you like, look, it is a fact that we can measure through like polls and psychological research and analysis and all the stuff that like 85% of the target audience of She-Hulk who watched She-Hulk found this moment to be cringe, then that would be a fact. That's an objective fact that level of people found that cringe. That's just something that isn't arguable. I mean, again, those polls haven't been done and we don't have that data, but it is possible in theory to do that. And so like if that is the case, then yeah, you would have to admit that the majority of people found it to be cringe. That is something you would have to admit if you have any faith in reality at all. That's not to say that you personally have to do that as a kind of moral mandate.
Yeah, I think it's just the kind of thing. He's taking it way too seriously. If someone's saying like you have to admit that this is cringe, it's like I think they're just trying to say that they find it cringe. And they want to see if you agree with them. That's kind of the vibe you get from that comment. You don't get someone like want you to actually be like, no, you know what, being fully honest here because I was hiding my true feelings or no, but it actually is cringe. It's like no, just say you agree or disagree. Like this isn't the example you should use when you say like that. You have your audience being like being all like about objectivity and being like everyone agrees on an objective something, because being cringe is not something that I don't know. It feels like he's taking it too seriously. Also, someone asked you, Jolly, if you still consider yourself to be an EFAP fan in chat.
I would say that I am a fan of a select amount of their content, that I admire some aspects of the hosts, particularly a lot of Warner's older work. I have severe moral reservations about the way in which they conduct their associations with various people. and that's a worry to me. So I would say, like, I'm a casual enjoyer of some of their content. I don't hold any particular animosity towards them, nor do I particularly idolize them. I think they are, on their day, very good critics, but often fall short of that.
That is fair.
It was not as funny as they probably wanted me to think.
Thank you for cutting to that. Oh my god, really? I don't care. Why does it matter? Why are you showing a meme about She-Hulk twerking? How far have you strayed from the point, man? I swear. Oh my god, I'm gonna kill myself. Stop with the fucking... Who cares? Who cares about what the Legion of Geeks has to say on Instagram about this scene? Like, how far have we strayed from the point? What does this have to do with anything? What the fuck is Legion of Geeks? I don't get it. Oh my god, okay, I get it. Oh my god, I'm gonna kill myself. Let's please move on. Move on. Oh my god!
Oh my god.
It just never ends! Does he find this funny? He's like, he said, oh, I did get some comedy gold. The comedy gold was me editing the scene alongside people being mad at the scene. That's not comedy. You're just like, oh, the scene did happen despite people being mad about it.
So, actual fandom, allow me to introduce you to an expression called belaboring the point. This is it. Don't do that. It's very annoying as a viewer to have to watch you repeatedly make the same joke that wasn't funny the first time over and over and over again. Even if it had been funny the first time, it wouldn't be by now. You need to know when, less is more. You need to know when
have you ever heard the phrase diminishing returns?
I mean, Jeb said it earlier. What is editing?
Yeah. Oh my god. Please stop, I get it.
One with it.
It's still going.
Oh my god, please. I'm gonna pause this because of copyright. There's a chance that music's gonna claim us. If we get copyright claim because of this goddamn fucking retarded edit. Sorry, I did not mean to say the R word there. It just really annoyed. Oh my god, please. I'll pause for copyright, but please. Okay, I'm gonna pause again because of copyright. Oh my god, I want to die. This is the new best ECUM clip that I'll reference in future. Yeah.
How many seconds has he spent on this gag?
See, this is the thing. I would have to go back to check, and I would rather not. I can check. I can check later.
At least 30 or 40, right? Like, we're approaching half a minute plus of this joke.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's fine, you can say. I am mentally, but I'd rather not.
But I'm also
oh, we did it.
Old ass dude that whatever. But it was amusing.
What?
But
I'm also an old ass dude who, whatever. Thank you. I get completely what you mean. That's like, oh, such a true point, man. That's for real. I relate to that real hard. Oh, dude, for real.
It was just, it's not like it was the core of the episode or whatever, so I can just tell it's easy for a lot of people, even not the fandom menace, to think of their perspective and views as objective. Objectively is the new literally.
Oh, they did it. He said the name of the video 11 minutes in. 11 minutes
11 minutes into a 13-minute video, we finally got down to something. I mean,
maybe really now for the last
we do
two.
Have a definition.
Yeah, maybe now for the last 2 minutes, he's actually going to talk about the point of the video.
Right? Like,
I love that there was a huge pause. It was just like, right, as if like the point was self-evident. Like, please explain your point. I love elaboration. I love when your point actually makes sense and you have things to back it up. Can you please?
True.
You know how people would say literally, and then it would be something completely figurative or metaphorical.
Yeah, we know what you mean by that.
Well, this is that. subjectively bad. And it's like, no, you mean that your opinion is that it's bad.
Yeah.
You've not addressed it. You've not addressed it. You've not addressed. Because the point would be about the word objectivity, what it means, and how it relates to quality, and if there can be objective quality, and if there is, how does that relate to like an opinion, and how it can talk about the objective. If something is objectively inconsistent, can you talk about that? There's so many things you can talk about with the term objective. If you've not said anything, fuck's sake, it's such a pointless video. Jeb, why did you show us this? I hate you. Fuck you, honestly.
You're welcome.
No, fuck off.
You're welcome.
This is your last ECUM, honestly. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, sorry, Joe. This is actually why I'm here. I've been brought in as
Yeah, Job is gonna replace you from now on.
It wasn't my choice. I got Sky kidnapped me.
Yeah.
After I criticised her for being a Liverpool fan, she came to my house and just took me in a van.
Look, man. Spurs drew today, so whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even. I'm just so upset.
Anyway, whatever. Let's not talk about football. Let's address the point.
Your opinion is that it's bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Objectively is literally the new literally, and subjective.
That's objectively true.
Oh my god. You're just gonna keep mentioning these words as if you've made a point. Fuck off. Elaborate on something.
This feels like when you have one joke, then overdo it over and over again because you think it's the funniest thing ever created.
Yeah. Like, if these two were high when they made this video, it would make a lot more sense, honestly. Like, I think it would make this video, like, 100 times better if I just knew that they were high while they filmed this.
Literally.
But it's not objectively true, because that's just something I said. You might agree with me, but
yeah.
I'm holding my ground on this. Anyway, so these guys actually...
So he's just moved on from that point, I guess. Like, okay, well done. You've not made a point.
I guess so.
We had 30 seconds about, like, the actual title of the video, and he didn't say anything. He just repeated the words literally and objectively as if it's the funniest thing ever. I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
Actually seem to have some measure of rationalization for what they mean by this stuff. Whereas, you know, the Fandom Menace, we cover them a lot. It's just, I mean, MCU is literally one of their fucking catchphrases, and people like clap like seals, like, oh yeah, it's MCU.
Bad writing is a lot of it.
Bad writing.
Did you make a point there? What? I'm not entirely sure what he just said. I think he's saying that Mauler is at least better than the Fandom Menace because they don't like to do the MCU stuff. I guess that's what he meant. It's like, sure, I agree. MCU is a stupid fucking thing to say.
Yeah.
Mauler's subreddit. This post...
That was just so out of nowhere. Mauler's subreddit. Like, oh, okay, I guess we're here now. This feels like, kind of like watching Quantumania, where it's just like, things happen. I'm like, I guess this happened. Like, if you want this to happen, I guess you can. I don't understand why you would, logistically, but you know, you can do whatever you want. It's your video.
2 months ago, caught my attention, and I got kind of fascinated with it. You can ask Perp. I sent it to him. I was like, dude, this is just, I'm like, obsessed.
So is this just a segue into their next video where they're like, oh, we asked the Mauler subreddit what was.
Yeah.
So
it's a segue to our next one.
Why does he do that? Just make it one video about all this. It kind of, if you're segmenting it like that, it just kind of makes it very hard to follow the points you're trying to make, because this is a conversation you're having with a friend of yours. If you do this as one big video, it's at least easier to understand.
I'll be honest, Guy. I think the word conversation is, if anything, too charitable in this instance.
Incoherent ramblings.
Yeah, it's two people are making noises at each other.
Yeah.
This thread right now. So this is from a Mauler fan, and he wanted to have a discussion on wokeness.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt this will be well received here, but I wanted to ask this anyway. Before, I thought I was on the safe.
Your profile pictures are covering the fuck.
Why in the way? Fucking move.
Yeah, just fucking.
Yeah, I was thinking that earlier.
Why are you covering the post if you're reading it?
Yeah, if you're going to bring up a Reddit post as here's an interesting thing that we want to talk about, and you're going to put it on the screen, and you're going to go to all the trouble of putting it on the screen, then presumably you want your audience to read it. That is why it is on the screen. So why would you then stick this irritating nonsense in front of it?
It's like if... It's like if when Sky was going through DMs earlier, it's like if instead of reading them out like she did, she just put them on screen and then put the cover up.
Put the cover up. And like 90% of passers, like, if you want to read it, man, you try, okay? That would have been funny, actually. I should have done that. Actual fans just trying to score points since anti-EFAP content gains easy traction. It does seem like it. This seems just like we want to talk about Mahler being bad, and he got on a call with Perp, and he just said stuff, and none of it made sense. But they just said things for long enough to turn it into a video. It kind of feels like he's trying to do like internet historian type videos, you know, where he just gets into a call with someone like John Tron, and they just talk for like 20 minutes about random shit. And it's funny because the editing is super like snappy, and you know, there's some really cool visual gags and shit like that. And the people who are talking are just funny, but it's just like not talking about super serious topics, it's just showing something funny to the other person. That's the kind of vibe this gets. Like very poor imitation of it, which is a shame because internet historian is funny. So.
Same wavelength as everyone else, but now I'm not sure, and I wanted to discuss this for the sake of clarification. Simply put, what is wokeness?
Good question.
When is a movie or TV show spreading,
music, I guess,
to quote Critical Drinker, the message? Is it simply when the show has non-white LGBT?
Jesus Christ, the music is so loud. I think it's because it's you know, kind of like how you end like a TV show, like an episode, you end up with a cliffhanger. And you're like building up to like the point where you get to the cliffhanger, the music starts to get tense, and then you cut out just as you're about to like give your answer, you know, something like that. That's the kind of thing it feels like. But I think that's what he's gonna do but it's weird because it's still like a minute left.
LGBT characters, or do those characters have to do something for it to be woke? Secondly, why is something being woke an issue?
Yeah, see, that's exactly what he did. Oh my god, that to be continued was so funny. Yeah.
That's the end of the video? Oh my god.
There's still like 45 seconds left. I want to see what happens right now. Thank you. I love these. Oh, it's Patreon. Alright.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is all Patreon and then channel members.
Ambassador, sorry, hang on. Ambassadors more gatekeepers, except when you're looking after your mother. And at that point,
then you have to do it the way I say that you should, otherwise you're a bad person. I love that like most of the editing in these like visuals like that are more are just kind of like the default like visuals you get on like Premiere Pro, you know, like the the pack that you get once you pay for a subscription for Premiere Pro. You know, whatever. People pay money for him to make this stuff. Yeah, he seems to have a lot of patrons, which is pretty impressive. I wouldn't have expected that, especially because he has like 6,000 subs. That's usually not like big enough to have like loads of subs. So that was pretty.
What a disaster of a video.
Yeah.
I don't really have a kind word for it.
Yeah. It just there was no focus. He just rambled for 13 minutes with his friend, and that's kind of it, man. That was very
You know, there's no discussion of like, you know, the metaphysical versus the epistemological sense of objective, or, you know, the conflation that often goes on between the two, or what the implications of the media discussion are with that, or comparing it to subjectivity in any meaningful. Just nothing.
Nothing
at all.
Yeah, because the video, it even introduced itself as like, you know, these people use objectivity to like stave off criticism, to say that other people are inferior, and he just didn't like the examples he used about like them being condescending were like not great, and then then he just doesn't talk about objectivity for like the most of like the big chunk in the middle of this video. Like it goes into a huge tangent about like Luke Skywalker. Like, what is happening? If he is going to separate these into like different segments, like he is like, oh, the next one is going to be about Mahler subreddit, the word woke, and the previous one was about whatever it was. You should at least like separate it into its own topics, right? Like you shouldn't include the Luke theory in this one. Just make it that its own video. I know it wouldn't be like over 8 minutes long, so you wouldn't be able to use like, you know, the mid rolls. But if you are only doing this because you care about money, then well done.
They just care about the money.
Yeah. Yeah, as Gabe said, actual Fandom just wants money. Yeah. This is the worst video I've seen that was covered on this channel. Probably it's not the worst video we've covered, but it is a bad one. It's a very bad one.
I was about to say, like, surely as is worse.
Yeah, we've seen a few as videos. Yeah. We covered Nerdrotic before once again.
as literally called people at the BBC actual sex offenders and stuff. So I'd
Oh
say
yeah,
that's
he
why.
did. Yeah, he did do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah, that was funny.
But yeah, this is the video that I made a thread on about actual fandom, and actual fandom accused me of being an EFAP cultist.
Yes, Jeb is a
Yes,
AFAP
and then
cultist.
that escalated into a very strange behind the scenes conversation with me and SK, where we were just basically trying to get to the bottom. Like, again, I don't know how much you guys want me to talk about this on your
Oh no, it's
screen.
fine. Yeah,
I just-
we Jab did a little bit of an introduction about our history with actual fandom, but considering you were part of the conversation with him, you can talk about it. There's no problem. You go off. You go, girl.
It was just well, thank you. It was just it was bizarre, right? Because my only interactions with this man is he followed me on Twitter after Southpaw went on his channel and recommended me. Which, thank you, Southpaw. That was very kind of you. And post that point, I sort of just ignored all the stuff, and then I saw like the whole chunky monkey discussion and all the stuff that went on around there, and I was basically just like, I absent-mindedly defended him as like, look, this clearly wasn't a racial thing. Chunky monkey's not a racial slur. It's just not what it is, and I'm seeing a lot of people call this guy bad faith, but I've not personally seen any evidence, so I'm going to wait on that to make a judgment, and that's basically where I left it. And then I saw Jeb's threads, which I thought was a very fair thread from Jeb. And then Dane just went nuts, and me and SK, and accused Jeb of hating his mother or something. And so SK and I went into a conversation with, like, a private messaging with him on Discord, and we were like, look, man, we've defended you in the past, but we think you stepped over the line here, and you probably owe Jeb, just an apology, just for that comment. It's not a big deal. Just, tempers ran away with everyone. Just quick apology. That's all. And he just wouldn't accept it. He was like, "Oh, you guys are just like you're this double standard, and you're just chilling for these fuckers," and like basically went nuts at us. And then it was very strange. Accused SK and I of being acting in bad faith. Essentially told SK that he'd been using SK and Southpaw in a really manipulative and disingenuous way.
Yeah.
It was just the most bizarre. I mean, again, if you want to see the full interaction, viewers, both SK and I think I retweeted SK's comments on this. Like, SK posted all the chat we did with the guy on Twitter, so you can go look for it for yourself. But it was just this strange, almost like toddler-esque rant where he just suddenly snapped at us because we weren't on his bandwagon fully anymore, and we gave him so many opportunities just to like act like an adult and behave reasonably, and like, not even just have to agree with us, just like give arguments for why he said a thing that were more coherent than "I don't like Jeb, he's the bad man," and he couldn't do it. It was disappointing.
What was the same to me when I read those DMs as well? Because I simply said, "Hey, let's not keep bringing up Nerdrotic's addiction situation." He's just like, "Oh, he doesn't actually care about addiction victims." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Oh yeah, he accused you of that,
Yeah.
and then he used his own history with addiction to be like, I know what I'm saying. It's kind of like, just because you have a history with that doesn't mean what you said isn't insensitive in any way. That was really a really strange conversation.
Well, again, I want to stress this, right? Like, not to undermine. Like, this is not to undermine anyone's personal trauma. And if Fandom is ever listening to this, I'm really sorry you went through that. And I really hope you're doing better, and I hope you continue to do well in your sobriety. Because addiction is no joke. It's a really horrible thing.
Yeah.
But one person's personal trauma does not justify them to speak with any kind of authority, either on the subject of the thing they're addicted to, or anyone else's experience of it. That's not how personal experience works. It's not how personal trauma works. Like, one person who's been traumatized in a war zone can't then speak to the experiences of everybody traumatized in a war zone. One person who's had an experience of addiction can't make definitive claims about how everybody else who's ever had an addiction or experienced addiction should or shouldn't talk about it. It's very strange. And this coming from a guy who's taking issue with people using the word objectively in exactly that sense. Yeah. Hypocritical doesn't even really begin to describe it.
Yeah, and he has made tweets still ranting about Jeb after he unfollowed you. I think he blocked you, right, Jolly?
Yeah, he blocked me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he blocked Jeb too, and he still made tweets about Jeb because he hasn't blocked me, and I decided to check his Twitter out of curiosity, and he's still talking about the situation. I'm like, dude, come on, like fucking.
I seem to be on I seem to be on a roll with people blocking me. I've had J.K. Rowling, Fandom, and Jenny Longbone in the space of like 2 weeks.
Oh yeah,
It's
Jay
really strange.
Longbone blocked you because you defended. Oh, that was the stupidest thing. Oh,
It was
guys.
really dumb.
Yeah, I just made fun of Jay Longbone, and she was just like, "And who are you?" And Jolly was like, "Well, I know who Sky is. She's a much better person than you are." And Jay Longbone just went kind of insane, and again, Jolly proved that there were people calling him a pedophile, and she was like, "No, there aren't." And when he proved that, she just blocked him instead of doing anything about it. Oh,
I've just clocked on the fact that Sky said actual fans still tweeting about me. I'm like, well, why? What
Oh
have
yeah,
I
he
done?
was making like snipes about the situation, but not specifically mentioning you. So there are people who were like replying to him, and he was just being like, you know what, man, these people, they're always like this. And I thought that was hilarious because these people have no idea that Jeb isn't like an EFAP fan, but they're bunching him in with EFAP fans because they don't know, and he doesn't make any effort into being actually accurate about it.
I'm just imagining, for people who've watched like X-Men First Class, you know that scene where Magneto is like throwing the coin at a drawing of Shaw's face over and over again. I just have this mental image of like Fandom sitting down. He's got like a notes board with like Jeb on one side and like the word objectivity on another. And he's just like throwing darts and knives. He's like, I must destroy this enemy of mine.
Yeah.
I find it disheartening as well because he explained why he got upset to you guys. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I didn't intend, to harken back to your own experience to belittle that, so I apologize. And I'm finding out, oh, he's still just shitting on me behind a block after shitting on my mum and then blocking me. So it's like, it's great, man.
It's also, it's funny, right? Because in the conversation SK and I had with him, when we were like, we think you should apologize to Jeb, he was like, oh, well, Jeb really hurt my feelings. Why isn't Jeb apologizing to me? I was like, well, Jeb did. And first of all, like, you're an adult, right? This is not a bargain. If you fucked up, you still apologize, even if the other person is behaving like a child. It's not a quid pro quo. That's not how it should work. But even if it was, Jeb, you did apologize to him, and in very like eloquent terms as well. So it's just enormously petty what he's done.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the tweets he made about Jeb, but he tweets a lot, man. Jesus.
I do, to be fair, so I won't knock him for that.
I don't know, I do too. It's just
yeah, Jeb, I hear you're so to Twitter that you even tweet, when you should be looking after your mum. That's what I hear.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah.
I'm not seeing my mother tomorrow for Mother's Day. I'm just going to say on Twitter.
Just tweet about like how much you hate your mom, yeah.
Happy Mother's Day. Here's this tweet that proved I briefly thought of you. Now that's my regular Twitter schedule.
It'd be funny if Jeb scheduled a bunch of tweets tomorrow, like during Mother's Day, and he just shat on his mom. Meanwhile, he's spending the day with his mom actually and having a very nice time. And then actual Fandom just like, oh my god, I can't believe. Oh man, that would be funny.
I'm actually going to do that now.
Let's go.
I don't think you understand what idea you've just given me.
Let's go. Oh yeah, I think this was one of the tweets that he made was about Jeb. He said pointing out hypocrisy of rehabilitated addicts and felons, not shaming addicts or undermining rehabilitation, just so you know. Which is not the issue Jeb took. It's not the pointing out hypocrisy, is that how he was doing it wasn't pointing out hypocrisy.
It's also not what Nerdrotic did, right? Because like Nerdrotic did not shame addicts or undermine rehabilitation. Nerdrotic's hypocrisy was nothing to do with his drug use, and his drug use has nothing to do with his takes on media.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how the tweet applies at all.
Yeah, just because Jeb took issue with bringing up the...
Yeah, and Jeb was completely correct to do so. Like, it's not okay to point to someone's prior experience of addiction and be like, oh, see, this proves they're a morally bad person. That's just not an okay thing to do. It's just bollocks. It's factually untrue and morally reprehensible to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I have many issues with Nerdrotic. I do not like Nerdrotic. But I would never, stoop to be like, oh, the man is bad, and the proof of that is that he did drugs once.
yeah, it's I do take it's something I take issue with when people mention it. It's like there's no need. You just don't have to. So, we were talking about this earlier. We was talking about like making fun of Jeremy's appearance and Mulder's appearance. It's like just don't. Like that just goes completely against the things you're criticizing these people for. Just don't stoop down to their level. Like if you think they're doing something that's bad, just don't do it yourself. You know, some.
Well, also, like, I just don't, because I mean, I've seen, again, I have no idea what he looks like now, but I have seen the photo that does the rounds of Mauler, and, like, he's not a particularly, like, he's a particularly normal-looking guy. Like, he's not going to be modeling for Vogue anytime soon, but, like, he's definitely, like, not strange or abnormal or particularly noteworthy in terms of, like, you know, being laughable. He's just a guy.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, because
don't get it.
there's the moment in the video that we watched today where it's just like, this is actually what Mauler looks like. I'm like, okay. He looks like a guy. Thank you. I don't know, man. I don't know what to do with this. It's like, oh, and I know, like, either, you know, it's either that he finds the face he's doing silly, or he's just like, oh, Mahler's fat or something, like that's like laughable or something. Don't fat shame him. Why does it matter?
Exactly. I mean, like, if he posted a photo of Mauler and it turned out he was a giant squid in a chair, then sure. Now we have something to discuss. Absent of him being a Cthulhu monster, I'm not particularly sure what we're discussing.
Yeah. I like how a huge factor in the end result was actual Fandom refusing to schedule a discussion for another day. It just had to be. That was so weird. It was like, oh, can you jump me on stream today? Jeb was like, I'm going to my mom's. Can we do another day? He was like, well, either today or never, and you should pay more attention to your mom. Just like, okay, yeah, man.
Either you jump on the call with me right now, or you don't love your mum. Like, oh.
I should say that to Dad more often when he's late to ECUM. I'm just like, you join now or you hate your mom.
Yeah, it's like, do you remember when you were at school and, like, you know, before people got any kind of nuanced sense of perspective, and they'd be like, oh, if you don't eat this, you're gay. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
You know?
My mum's like, why can't you come round for dinner? Some random guy on Twitter just said, I'd hate you.
I'd hate you if I'd hate you if I went to talk to you. I actually need to not be with you so that yeah. It's smart.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
You go full Terminator. It's like, why didn't you talk earlier? It's like, because I do not love you, mother.
I do not.
I love Twitter more.
That was so funny, man. It's just like, either do it today or never, because I don't take what you say seriously. It's like, so why do you want to do it at all today? Just don't talk to Jap then. It was so weird.
You know what was funnier? He actually ended up saying do it the next day. In the same tweet, he shat on me with the mother, and I'm like, what do you want me to do?
Oh yeah, because he was like, oh, either you have time now because you're talking on Twitter, talking with me on Twitter, or you're with your mom, but you're being a bad son because you're on Twitter. So let's do it now. And he was like, actually, also next day, it was just like, and the Jab was obviously like, no, I'm not gonna do it anymore now. You just insulted me about how much I care for my mom, you dumbass. That was so weird. Man.
You know what? Has everyone here seen Midnight Mass?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we're huge fans.
You know the kiss your mother meme. It's basically just that. It's like, oh, I don't want to talk to you. It's like, no, kiss your mother.
Kiss your mother.
No, do it.
Oh man, what a brainlet. Fucking hell.
I'm trying not to let Twitter get me down because there's been a couple of days on my end mental health wise. I'm trying not to let it get me down, but like, I just want people to behave like normal people, right? Like, I just want people to behave with like some kind of sense of perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Is that so hard?
On Twitter, I don't know, maybe on Twitter it is. You should not expect that.
I know. Maybe I'm just too optimistic about humanity, but I'm always like, if I calmly explain to them my perspective, then we can have a discussion, and they're definitely not going to turn into rabid, crazy, feral, nonsensical lunatics. That'll definitely never happen.
Yeah. Twitter will Twitter. But well, we met because of Twitter, so you know, not all people who are on Twitter are bad. Yeah.
No. And also, to be fair, I think like I met SK because we got into a shouting match on Twitter.
That's how most people meet SK.
That is true. To be fair, yeah.
All right. Well, at some point, at some point I look forward to seeing an actual video on actual objectivity, if not from actual fandom, then someone else.
Yeah. I made a video a while back that I don't remember if it's good or not. I think I unlisted it, but it was when I still believe objective quality was a thing, so maybe probably not the best.
See, I feel like at some point I'm going to be dropping my video where I unironically defend objective analysis of media, and I'm going to have this horde of like Twitter zombies just come at me. It'll be interesting.
That'll be interesting, yeah. There's I think Evan made a video like art is not subjective. I think that may be one that's interesting to watch. Evan Monroe.
Oh, I think I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, I
think it's
remember.
somewhere down in my bookmarks.
Yeah, I would say that's like the one that comes to mind, that it's about objectivity. I do wish, because like Mahler's talking about objectivity so much over the years. I know he doesn't anymore, but there was a point where I was like, if you made a video explaining what you mean and what your standards are and stuff like that, I would appreciate it a lot more, because a lot of the time you're just like, oh, this is bad. I'm like, why? Like, it just feels like you're not like explaining fully your stance, and it really annoyed me over the years watching EFAB, even before like we had the awakening.
Yeah, he
That's
does,
a weird way to say it, but you know what I mean.
He almost does it, right? So I think it's the first part of his Force Awakens critique, he has an hour-long section where he's talking about other video essayists, and he does approach something like a definition for his stance, but then he doesn't quantify it any further than that. I mean, like again, that's not the video he wants to do it in, and that's fair enough. But it is irritating to me.
Yeah,
that,
I
like,
do wish he had done it at some point, and now I think it's just like he wouldn't, just because he's kind of moved away from like talking about objectivity and more just talking about media itself, which I think is fine. I just wish he would. Yeah.
Well, I guess part of the thing I find infuriating, not just from Waller, just for everyone on this topic, is how personally invested / tribal people get over these uses of the word. So, for example, like objective is like, oh, it's a binary thing. Either like there's just one truth about film, or it's a plethora. There's no middle ground. Like, no, there's plenty of you know, films have multiple objective perspectives on them. That's
well, it's the kind of thing where I don't know if you've ever heard of Michael B. As in Dasic from Twitter. He was he was a wild card. He's a node gem, but SK will remember if he's still in chat. I think he is. Yeah. I remember when we used to argue with him. He used to say that any interpretation is valid, to a point where I said, if I said that in Aquaman, Iron Man showed up and saved the day in the third act, like, would you say that's a valid interpretation? He said yes. I was like, okay, then it's not worth discussing with you then, if you think any interpretation is valid. Like, obviously there are interpretations that are just wrong about things, because there's objectively things that happen in this film that I can say this happened or this didn't happen. It's not the same as just like having an interpretation of what something could mean or something like that. So yeah.
What's funny is you could technically try that, right? You could be like, oh, Iron Man shows up in Act 3 and saves the day, and that's an objective take. And I go, well, hang on, what do you mean? And he's like, well, you know that squid he rides? I call that squid Iron Man, so therefore what I've said is objectively true.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, if that's how we're defining Iron Man in this context, then yes, that would objectively be true. But now I'm going to take issue with how you've defined the word Iron Man. And there's a discussion to be had there. That's actually potentially quite interesting. And obviously it's a very silly example, but there's a potentially interesting discussion to be had there. And it bothers me that that interesting conversation is subsumed under the yelling that goes on between my take good, your take bad.
Yeah, which is kind of something that I think we have tried to move away from, that just like being like vitriolic, like, oh, you have a dumb take. We did that with when we cover like as just being like racist or something in his videos. Like, that's inherently silly, that's inherently dumb. But we try to hear out other perspectives, and I think it's interesting. And he said like, oh, why are you even like responding to like the Luke take theory? I was just like, I don't know, I like listening to other perspectives and try to understand them and see if they follow logically. That's kind of why I was responding to it during the video.
I just meant in this context, right? Not that like you shouldn't ever respond to that kind of silliness. It was more just
I'm just saying that's
in the context of a discussion about objectivity, like, why are we talking about Luke at all?
No, yeah, I completely get that. I'm just saying it's like the kind of thing that I like, and I kind of don't like this just like vitriol. It's like you suck or you suck from either side, which is just tiring.
I mean, again, I don't know how invested everyone is in the Last of Us debate, but the discourse around that has been cancerous yet again.
Yes, and thankfully I finished watching the show after all of it happened, so I stayed clear from that. I did not care enough about it. I did see like Southpaw getting like thousands of quote tweets. That was fucking insane, man.
Oh yeah, his tweet blew up. It got like 12 million views and like 1,000. I just did so many people like in his comments. It was kind of funny. Like he had to take a break from Twitter just to be like, no, I need to get away from this.
Yeah, which is fair.
Oh yeah, completely.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we end the stream, Jolly, one of the things that Dosick, aka Michael B, said was that if saying N-word is wrong,
No.
saying Iron Boy Jr. is also wrong. He's equally as wrong. So, yeah, you.
Oh, it's equally as wrong, is it? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's equally wrong to say Iron Boy Jr. as it is to say the N-word. So you live with that in your mind now. You ponder on that. You
God.
think about whether he's right or not.
Thanks, guy.
With that, I think
went
we're gonna end the
viral.
stream now. Oh, that did go viral. Like High Top and Brown Table quote tweeted it, but he lost that account, so that tweet doesn't exist anymore. It's quite a shame. But anyway.
Well, if we're ending the stream here, then may I just say thank you very much for having me on. It was
Yeah, I was gonna say,
genuinely a real pleasure.
Yeah, it was good to have you on. I do enjoy talking about topics like objectivity and just philosophy in general, which is why we covered Wisecrack a few streams ago and we lost our minds. But I do find it interesting. So yeah, it's good to have you on. Probably will have you on again when we talk about Wisecrack again.
Very honored to be on again, so I look forward to it.
Nice. And do you have a channel or something you want to shout out?
I technically do, but there's no videos on it yet, so I'm gonna avoid shouting it out for the moment. I do have a Twitter. If anyone's not subscribed, please give me a follow.
Yeah.
I'm currently putting together a cookbook that will be sold. Well, not sold. It will be. Well, it will be sold, but all the proceeds will be going towards food banks in the UK when that finally does come out, because a lot of people are struggling quite badly in the cesspool that the country has become, and anything that we can do to alleviate the suffering of the worst off, we need to band together at this point. So, if you want to do that, that'll be great. If not, if you just want to follow and see my occasionally strange takes on philosophy and neuroscience and politics, then that's true. I am working on videos; they will be coming out eventually. I'll let people know when that happens.
Cool. Yeah. Good stuff. Right. I think that is all today, people. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for the super chat, Introverted Robot. And yeah, we'll catch y'all next time talking about something. I'm not entirely sure what. We know what 69 will be, but we don't know what 68 will be. So it's a mystery. So yeah. Goodbye.
Bye.
Oh, Goldface.